today I got the man that needs no introduction. I got the man who makes sure that everybody, every black brother, every sister, every Latino brother and sister, just every brother and sister, no matter what you are, make sure that when you walk in the door at either meeting, whether it's the main Inland Empire Real Estate Club meeting or it's the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Club meeting for which he is the host, it's my man, Thomas Chappell.
Hey, what's going on,
And I
everybody?
wish I had some applause for you. I might have to put that on in post productions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So before we get into it, man, I want you to tell me what is that background that you have, because I see it says black something, and then the mask that you wear. And I'm gonna have to ask you in a minute to take off the mask so people can see your face, so they'll recognize you when they see you on the street. You know what
Oh,
I'm
most
saying?
definitely.
So
I gotta promote. I gotta promote. This is
that's
the
right.
logo for the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. I am one of the organizers of the club, along with Joanna and myself. And this is our logo. So I am selling the mask via in person or on any type of social media, as well as the club T-shirt that I have on. You can buy these off of teesprings.com/store/original BIEREIC merchandise. And that's the background right there. So I'm gonna take it off so you can see me, but I just wanted to promote, what I'm doing here. So that's about it.
All right. Okay, cool. So, Thomas, so you are what we know as a real estate investor, and you also do something special, which is you like Santa Claus to real estate investors. You give away money.
Oh, for sure.
So a lot of this is for a lot of people that are trying to get started. They don't know much about real estate. They may not know anything at all. And just like me and you were once in the working class, and we used to think that we had to go to one source to be able to get money to buy property. And if we had too many properties, they wouldn't give us any more money, right? If we
Correct.
didn't have the right kind of credit, we wouldn't qualify for the money, right?
Correct.
And if we didn't have enough of a down payment, usually what, 10% or more? If it's non-owner occupied, we'd have to have 20% or more. So we only knew that there was one source. So what are the other sources? Thomas, tell us about what you do.
Well, I'm a jack of all trades. I am a flipper. I have a business called Visionary Partners. Basically, I started off in this business just like everybody else, didn't know anything, didn't have any money. Basically, credit was poor. The biggest problem that I had is that I'm not a good reader and I'm not a good writer. So that was one of my downfalls. But my Achilles heels was because I had child support issues. So I'm like, who would want to invest into me, And lo and behold, one day I took a chance on believing in the Lord and say, okay, look, I got nothing else to lose. I'm in my late 40s, early 50s. I have nothing else to lose but time. So I end up exposing myself. And when I exposed myself, that's when doors started to open up. I end up going to, true story, I end up calling Aaron Norris. Didn't even know that's what I called. I looked up investors. Two names came up. One I forgot, was supposed to forget, and the other one was the Norris Group. Didn't know who the Norris Group was. Didn't know who Bruce Norris was. Called the number, asked the receptionist, who can I speak to regarding investing? And she gave me Aaron. And Aaron listened to me for 45 minutes, never interrupt me. And he said, look, I don't have a mentorship program. That's nothing I can do for you at the point, but I got one guy you can go to. So he turned me on to this guy named Nick Manfredi. Nick Manfredi ended up, I had a group, real estate club they was doing every quarter. And the first one I was going to go to was going to be April 2014, but that got canceled. The last one he had was in July, and that's where Bruce Norris spoke. And I asked Bruce, I said, well, you know what? I've never been in this business. I don't know what to do. He says, the one thing you don't have to worry about, money is the easiest thing to find. The hardest thing is knowing how to find a deal. And that's where we are. It's learning how to find deals. I'm also, a hard money lender. So people that's looking for money for new development, new construction, apartment complexes, long and short term rentals, as well as fix and flips, you come to me. If you bring somebody to me and I do a deal with them, I give you a wholesale fee. You know. Also, I am a mentor slash motivational speaker. Um, I have this real estate investment club that I'm a part adjacent to the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, as well as I also teach people how to restore their credit. That's pretty much.
Okay. That was an earful. So I'm gonna back you up.
Okay, baby.
Yeah, hey, man. Look, when you said a jack of all trades, you was not lying.
For sure,
And
for
I know
sure.
that's the one thing about you, Thomas. You won't bite your tongue. You won't lie to nobody about nothing. You give it to anybody straight and from the hip. And I like that about you.
Appreciate
So and I know a lot of people like that about you and appreciate that about you and respect you for it. And so that brings me back to the beginning. Um, so tell me, who is Aaron Norris? Who was this guy that you just randomly called when you looked up a name? You was trying to figure out how you were going to get started in real estate. Well, first, let me ask you, why did you figure you needed to get started in real estate? What sparked that idea?
Well, the biggest part was, like I said, I was in my late 40s, early 50s, and at the time I was living in Vegas, and I had lost a job, and I saw what corporate America did to my mother. My mother was working for the Riviera Hotel at the time, and she had to go out on FMLA because she had spinal surgery. So after her first spinal surgery, she came back with a disability because her equilibrium was off.
Mhm.
So she needed a walker to utilize, to walk, to stabilize herself. And, you know, at that time, the Riviera Hotel was so old that, it was built a long time ago. And the employees had to go through a special interest. Well, she couldn't climb stairs, and with the walker, she couldn't do it. So they turned around and let her go, you know.
Okay.
And I didn't want that to happen to me. So I had odd jobs. I couldn't find a permanent job, full time permanent job. So I end up hearing a radio talking about fortune builders. Now, heard about them before, and I'm like, oh, they full of crap, yada yada yada. But this one time, I said, I have nothing to lose but time. So I paid the $200 to go to the 3 hour, 3 day seminar, and knowing that I was waiting for the shoe to drop, but I did get some nuggets out of that. And the one thing I did like about it is that it gave me the ability, to be able to spend a lot of time with my son because I am a single dad. Been raising my son since he was 6 months old. So it gave me the ability to, be more involved in his life academically and all other ways and whatnot because I was raised without a father. You know what I'm saying? So when you're raised without a father, you kind of just going around, wondering who the hell you are and things like that. I made a lot of mistakes, but doing that, having him in my life, it made me go on a straight and narrow and to be able to seek out to be better. But that's what ended up happening. So when I moved to California, I wanted to continue on doing the same thing because I didn't buy the program at the time. They wanted 25,000. So when I moved to California, so I'm gonna keep this going. So I just Googled investors, and two names came up, and the one name came up was a Norris Group, which I'd never heard of before because I'm not from California. So that was one part of it. Well, Riverside. And the second part was I called a number, and the receptionist gave me Aaron. Didn't even know who he was, but he allowed me to speak. And if anybody don't know me, they will. I am very cocky. I am very arrogant. People say I'm opinionated. I can receive that. And I love the sound of my own voice. I love to talk, just as much as Alvin does. So that's how the ball got started. He turned me on the Nick, and then I was going to Nick's meeting because his last.
So, well,
Go
let
ahead.
me ask you this. So, who is Aaron Norris exactly? Because you said you called the Norris Group, and you got Aaron on the phone. So obviously Aaron Norris must be part of that. Does he own the Norris Group, or what's going on there?
No,
What's all that about?
Aaron's a son of Bruce Norris, and anybody in the Inland Empire that don't know who Bruce Norris is, you better find out who he is. Bruce Norris became like the guru of real estate here in the Inland Empire. How he became the guru is because he was able to predict where he felt the market was going in real estate. And every time he predicted, he was spot on. So that's how he became a household name. You know, the other part is that Aaron is his son, and Aaron, came back to help his dad after his mother passed. And that's how that started. But
Okay.
one thing,
So no,
wait,
go
hold
ahead.
on, tell us one story. One thing is, I spoke to Aaron on several occasions, but never met him, and physically met him until 2 years later.
Okay. So basically, so what you ended up doing was you called you called a company that sells hard money because you wanted to get started in real estate. You didn't know what you were doing, who to call or who to talk to. You looked something up online, you saw the Norris Group, called them up, and immediately the lady puts you through to Aaron Norris, the son of the man who owns the place. So basically a millionaire's kid, if I could say so, right?
Correct.
And so basically this millionaire's kid, who we would normally think would probably not have the time of day to sit and listen to somebody like us for 45 minutes on the phone. He stopped what he was doing in the middle of his day and listened to you for 45 minutes without interrupting. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
And why would he do this?
Well, the one thing, like I said, is that I had nothing else to lose but time. And I was very forthright with him about everything that I've dealt with, in my entire life, with the dyslexia that I have and my child support issues and things like that. And I just said, you know what? I'm just looking to make a better life for my son and myself and whatnot. So that's when people take a heed and want to pay attention to you, when you really truly expose yourself and let them know instead of being afraid. You'll be surprised how many people in this world will really want to truly help you versus stab you in the back.
I'm glad you said that, man, because that's one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have, and in particular with our people have, when it comes to wealthy people, and in particular wealthy white people, right? So the one thing that Thomas and I can both attest to is the fact that when you get inside a club where the focus is about money and success, what you come in with, your background, your history, all that stuff, none of that matters, does it?
No, it doesn't. And as we go on, I will tell you in depth the reason why that doesn't matter, but keep going.
Okay. So then he turned you on to Nick Manfredi. And
Mhm.
who was Nick Manfredi exactly?
Nick Manfredi is an investor, and Nick Manfredi, after his group ended, he had a club, and that was his last meeting. He started an individual meeting like we do monthly, and he was charging $100. And at that time, I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I barely had any money to do anything. My car was breaking down. I wasn't working. I went out on workers' comp. So knowing that, you're not making that much on workers' comp, then I end up subsidizing my income, and I went on welfare and whatnot. So it wasn't enough to pay all my bills, but I was going for several months, and I got to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore. So I learned some things, and some things went over my head because it was the terminology that I didn't understand. And that's one of the big misconceptions is about, people not helping, is that you don't understand the lingo. Once you understand the lingo, then you can be able to be a part of something. But when you don't, it sounds so distorted. It sounds like wah, wah, wah. It's like, okay, it's over my head. But if you stick with it, And that's the one thing I did. I like, well, I can't go to that, but one of his members said, well, you need to go to meetup.com. Never heard of Meetup. Went to Meetup and I saw all these different real estate investment clubs. It just blew my mind, you know. And then it was one right in my back door because I signed up for every last one of them. But, you know, car was breaking down, so I couldn't go to the one in Pasadena, the one in San Gabriel, you know, all the other places. So the one in Riverside, the Inland Empire, was in my back door. So I started going there. And I realized that I was saving $180 because Nick was charging $100 a month. And I was only paying 20 for the Inland Empire, and I've been going there for the last 5 years. So connected with a lot of different people in there.
And so tell me a little bit about the Inland Empire Real Estate Club. Like, what did you, what was it about that particular club that made you feel like that was the club for you? Because I'm sure, you know, you said you had all these choices and they weren't all $100 like the one that you had just got done with. So what was it about that club in particular?
Well, the biggest part because it was in my back door. You know, I was only 5 minutes away from downtown Riverside, so
Okay.
that far, you know.
That
But
wasn't the hard one, right?
but the thing was is that as I started continue to go, I got to learn the two organizers, Todd Bear and Stephen McKee, and built a relationship from there, you know. And Stephen McKee and I had shared a lot of things, and come to find out, him and I had the same issue. He had child support issues just like I did, but he was worth $200,000. I'm like, whoa, how can you be worth 200K and you paying child support? Because coming from where I'm coming from, the hood, I don't know nobody got that kind of cash and still successful and paying child support.
Right, right, right. Still got child support issues.
You know
You
what
got,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So I got to the point said, I want to be just like that. You know? And I told Steve, I said, yeah, I want to learn. I want to stick to you like Velcro. I want to learn this business. He's like, yeah, right, whatever. Because he said a lot of people was coming to him and telling him and Todd, it's like, oh, they say it all the time, but then they don't want to stick and stay. So I started going to the club and I became the unofficial member, liaison as to the club, because I would speak to every minority, say, hey, look, don't look at the outer exterior, look at the inner, because their uniform of choice is not a suit and tie, it's flip-flop shorts and t-shirts. And you know how we think coming from where we come from. It's like if they dress like bums, then they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They just take your money, but $20, you can't say they trying to take your money. But I kept coming, and next thing you know, one thing led to another, to where Steve and Todd kind of took me up under their wing, but they didn't just hand it to me. I had to actually prove that I wanted it. And that's the one thing people don't understand. When you truly ask, you know, for something, you ask God for something, or whoever you have in your heart that you believe, you don't realize it's standing there right in your face. But because it's not coming the way you expect it to come, you walk away from it. Right. And it's still sitting there waiting on you. So, like I said, the one thing I had to lose was nothing but time. So by me being on workers' comp, it gave me the ability to go ahead and continue to keep doing what I'm doing, you know, because I had nothing else to lose. So I ate, sleep, and drunk real estate to where I end up becoming very good at what I'm doing now.
Okay. And so there was another person that you told me about when you first got started. As a matter of fact, I'm going to back up just for a second because I want to tell the story about when I met you, because we were, you know, I had started going to the club. I think my first real meeting was back in June of 2017. I had already been to one of the Friday night kick it meetings about 10 months before that. And I met Mr. Teasley and I met Mr. Todd Bear there, and they both encouraged me to come to the club. But of course, still having that thought in my mind, I don't know, man. I'm at the time, you know, I'm newly divorced, separated, staying with my mom, got custody of the kids, you know, the whole story and everything. And that's what me and you have in common, is that we're single dads. And there's a lot of us out there now, as a matter of fact. It's just that I don't think a lot of people recognize how many black single fathers there actually are in the world now.
Oh,
And so knowing that, I mean, you and I connected right away because here you were introducing yourself to everybody when I finally showed up to the club, and immediately I felt comfortable because I thought I was going to be walking into a room full of white people in suits and ties, right? and and not that I'm not used to being in rooms with white people in suits and ties, because that's a lot. A lot of us got that line of work, right? We just end up
oh,
in
for
those
sure.
rooms, and
Exactly.
I'm thinking to myself, well, shoot, I ain't learned nothing in the last few rooms I've been in with other kind of people. I don't know what I'm gonna learn here. And then will I feel comfortable because I don't know anything about real estate? And to my surprise, the first person that comes up to me is this the short dark skinned brother with the bright smile and the glasses, talking about, hey brother, you what you here for? You want to invest in some properties in Tennessee? Remember that?
That's what got Wayne to Tennessee Day. That's how he remembered me.
I had so many people back then. They were like, "Oh, you mean the guy that's selling the Tennessee guy?" So tell me about let's talk about Andy Teasley, Mr. Teasley. We already did the interview with him, the wizard, and you had a kind of a different experience with Andy when you first got to the club than most people have. So tell us about that.
Well, I met Mr. TC just like everybody else, at the club, and you know how he is. He just, straight from and shoot to the hip. He don't, you know, he challenged you, but not in a disrespectful way. And as I got to know him, he was a when I started going to the club, he was the first person that I actually took out to lunch. You know, and I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I didn't have no money. I was saving up money because I'm like, I don't know how this guy's gonna eat, where we was going. And then I had to drive my car, which was on one leg, all the way out to Hot Desert Springs, and I'm praying like, please don't break down. But
Right.
but I get there and we spent, I say, 15 and 20 minutes talking about real estate. We talked about everything else under the sun and whatnot. And then after that, several months later, he came to me and said, "Hey, Thomas, look, you doing real estate full time?" He said, "Yes." He says, "Me and a bunch of my white friends, we get together every 3 to 4 times a year out in Vegas. We do this thing called barter trading, and it's called Trade My Stuff, And we're looking at." Doing a reality show, and we need to add some color to it. So, would you want to be a part of it? And at first, I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, so I'm just going to be the token black. But
Right. Right.
said anything, the first thing said, sure, why not? And I went, but they was doing 3 days, and I went on a Wednesday, and 216 did a turnaround, and it was the most wonderful experience I ever had in my life. And these guys embraced me because I was the only black guy there. They embraced me like they've been knowing me for years. And I've been going ever since 216, January of 216, and traded a lot of stuff and came out with some valuable things. Matter of fact, I have a NBA encyclopedia with stats of all players across the country. And got Kobe Bryant's signature on there, original, authentic signature when he wore number 8.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So that's so you go to this
Training.
barter meeting, and
Yeah,
it's
it's a private meeting. The only way you know about it is by word of mouth. So you have to know some people to invite you. It's $150 to go. It's in Vegas, and you pay for your own travel, your own room and board, your own food and whatnot. But the thing of it is that these guys are all 65 and up. All of them are rich. Some of them been in the military. So all of them made money in real estate. If all of them have done real estate in parts of their lives, and they trade Like I said, they trade anything and everything. And, like they say, the story is one man's junk is another man's treasure.
Hmm.
They trade in hearing aids. They trade in houses, cars, lands, boats, motors, clothes, shoes, books, whatever. They trade it. And it's just a fun thing for them that they just get together 3 to 4 times out of the year just to go to Vegas and just have fun, chilling out amongst themselves. So it was interesting.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you got Andy, the real estate guy, and we kind of know what Andy does, but just for those who haven't watched the Andy interview, Andy is a guy who he buys and sells mobile homes, and what he does is he create what's called a promissory note, and the promissory notes have value, and you can just basically get time payments for them without. It's basically it's in a nutshell, it's like collecting rent without having to do any maintenance or pay taxes on the property, right?
Exactly.
And so Andy became, he ain't doing bad. I'd say Andy can probably pay for a few meals and a few cars, probably, right?
Oh,
But
no.
so so why would Andy and why would all of his rich old white friends come to this one place in Vegas, once every 3 months and just trade? So why would a person trade a house? Why would a person trade a car? What are they trading for when they do this stuff? I mean, why do people do this?
Well, the thing of it is, it's like almost like a 1031 exchange. And if people don't know what 1031 exchange in the real estate world means, is that you're trading value for value. You know what I'm saying? If you have a house that you say you want to downsize, okay, but you don't want to sell your house, and this is what they used to do back in the day before real estate became real estate. So I had a house that I wanted to downsize from, and you had a house where you wanted to upside from. So all we did was just trade the titles, you know, and that's just what it basically is that, and the thing about it, they're just trading just for fun. It's just something they want to do. They've been doing it for quite some time, and even if you traded, like, say, for instance, if I traded land that I've never seen, I just have this land that I've never seen. I traded for something else that I want, just like a 1031 exchange. And if I don't like it, I can retrade it and nobody will get mad. You see what I'm saying? So that's just basically what they do. They trade. They not only take it and trade amongst themselves, they go to other different trade shows across the country and just trade. So this is a hobby for these guys. That's basically what it is, just a hobby. A lot of them have their own businesses, you know what I'm saying? So it's just a hobby that they do a getaway. They might bring their wives, they might not bring their wives. It's just something that the guys do as a getaway for fun.
So they made so a bunch of old rich guys meeting up in Vegas every 3 months, and they may or may not bring their wives. Is that what you're telling me, basically?
For sure,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you fit into that category as an old rich guy? Meeting up in Vegas every 3 months.
You know what? And the thing of it is that they have taken me up under their wing and introduced me to something that's going to be what's going on in the world today is cryptocurrency. I didn't even know what cryptocurrency was, but I'm into it now. And the cryptocurrency that I'm into is called Troptions. And it's a little different than Bitcoin. Now, you do have to have Bitcoin, in your wallet to be able to trade for trade. So if I was going to, with Troptions, you can buy things with, it's almost just like regular currency and whatnot. But in order for you to trade through the net, you have to have Bitcoin as just like if you do a wire transfer. Bitcoin is like the wire to like the bank. So when you wire the money to another banking account, then they take their fee. So that's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is the fee to transfer from one wallet to the other wallet. So that's what we do. So we can buy real estate with Troptions. We can buy houses, cars, boats, businesses, different things like that. It has its own website. They also doing fine art where they're trading replicas of fine art. You know what I'm saying? So, and these fine art are worth tons of thousands of dollars and whatnot. See, people don't understand the value when you're trading because just like with real estate, current today, you can trade. Instead of using currency, you can trade value for value. And that's what a lot of guys in real estate are doing when they understand, just like what Pete Fortunato talked about a month ago, and just like what Bill Cook talked about last Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? That they using different things as far as value to trade for what they want.
Okay, and so that is that 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 in that conversation that can become a real deep conversation. I don't want to take you too far down in that direction, but just to kind of like skim over the top a little bit. So when you're talking about troptions and you're talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, it's basically what you're saying is that it's another material that's used in trading. And in fact, money in itself, what we know as money, the dollar, whatever you want to call it, that in and of itself is a tool for trading. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so understanding that, then and then we talk about all the time, I always like to mention about how money is not real and how it can be created out of thin air. So can the same be done with this cryptocurrency?
Well, that's what's getting ready to happen in the world. Everything is going crypto. You know, the only reason why it hasn't gone there yet because it's in the private sector. Once the government can get into it and make it a general thing, then they would change all currency into crypto, which means it's all in the cloud because we understand that the currency we have today is nothing but monopoly money. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So this is where we're going in the future as far as crypto. They just got to figure out a way to take it from the private sector and make it globally.
Gotcha. Okay, so basically, what you're really saying is that trying to put it in more like a layman's terms, it's like the cryptocurrency is like its own micro market in a sense.
Correct.
So it's basically what banking in the United States was supposed to be
True.
before the invention of the central bank and the and when you took away gold as a currency, as a foundational currency for money.
Correct.
Okay, without okay, so we won't get any deeper than that. So I think we skimmed the surface enough without actually diving in the water, right?
Oh, it can go down a rabbit hole real quick.
Man, this is like a 400-foot deep a swimming pool. So
Exactly.
yeah, so we don't want to take it all the way there, but this is what happens, and this is part of the process of doing a presentation like this and helping people start developing that vocabulary, like what Bill Cook was talking about the other night. It's the same thing that I always tell people, that you always tell people, that when you start doing real estate investing, you start learning. It's like learning a new language. And so, so like if we were just suddenly plopped in the middle of Japan and somebody said, okay, you need to ask these people directions on how to get home, it wouldn't be any different. Am I correct?
That's right.
So understanding that it's going to take you a while to learn Japanese, it'll take you a while to learn the language of money. But as long as you keep speaking to people who speak Japanese, you will eventually learn it. Just
Correct.
like Thomas knows how to speak money, and I learned how to speak money, and I learned how to speak money from being on the phone with Thomas, hours on the phone with Thomas. And this is one of the things that I had to do when getting started, and I'm sure you did the same thing, Thomas, which was spend hours on the phone with other investors who knew way more than me. Hours on the phone with Jim Keller, hours after the meeting talking to Steven, hours on the phone with you, the hours, time spent with Andy. It's just, it all adds up to a language that one day you start speaking and don't even realize you developed it, right?
That's true, but the biggest part of it is that, you got to want it. That's just the bottom line. I can sit here, you can sit here and talk to people all day long, but if they're not sure or they still stuck in their old ways, that's why you talk about renewing your mind. It has nothing to do with what you think it does. I mean, you know me, I'm just going to come straight from the hip,
Right.
and bottom line is I tell people is that you've been given a personal invitation by Jesus Christ himself to sit at a never ending table to feast. One of the biggest problems is that when you sit at that table, you look across from on the sides of you, people don't look like you. So you thinking that you're the only person there with issues and everybody else got it going on. So you politely get up from the table and walk away. But if you stayed at the table, you'll realize that you never had no issues. And that's where your help is at. We all need some form of help. There's no I in team, but we all need help. And the problem is we can't be afraid. That's the whole point about being in the world, not being in the other world. You know what I'm saying? Renewing your mind. It's the fact is that you got to go get it. There's tons of people out there willing to help. The question is, are you listening? It took me a while to get where I am. I had to wait till my late 30s, my late 40s, early 50s, because I didn't want to listen, because I was afraid because of my background, where I came from, the things that I've done, and real estate is really just a portal. It's not what real estate is. It's learning to invest in what to invest in. You see what I'm saying? And that's what we're not understanding when it comes to understanding money. It's not just real estate, it's investing in what to invest in, just like what they do on Shark Tank. A lot of people seen Shark Tank, you know what I'm saying? But you have to soak in. See, I'm not a good reader, so I'm not going to read a book. It bores the hell out of me. But I listen. And I listen to different things. I listened to the book of Donald Trump's Arc of the Deal. We all heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and a lot of people misconstrued that actual book because his dad was never poor. You know what I'm saying? But his dad was restrained to what was going on in the world, that you go to school, you get good grades, you go to college and find a job with benefits. Instead of going to school, get good grades, go to college and start your own business. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of people out there willing to help. But when you invest, instead of sitting down on the couch waiting for the money to come in, you go out there and you help that business by, giving them, if they need supplies, you go get the supplies. If they need traffic, you bring the traffic, because you're protecting your investment. And just instead of sitting on the couch and waiting for it to drop in, that's like the same thing as, you say, he opens up the windows of heaven, pouring you out the blessing that you have not room enough to receive. Well, you misunderstand it, because think of it like this. If you're standing in front of a middle of a room, the blessings are coming down. If you don't make room, it's going to consume you, swallow you, and kill you. So you got to make room. But the only problem is you can't sell it, because everybody's not going to meet your demand. That's why you have to give it away, not wait till you think you have it, but give it away as you go through. Because that's why it says teach one, reach one. It takes a village.
Right. Now, Thomas, so and this is something this is what I appreciate so much about you, and I know a lot of people that attend the club, in particular, the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Club. We all have that one thing in common, which is we all, at one point in time, through the process, felt like giving up, but then there you were on the phone, ready to kick us in the ass and make sure that ain't nobody stop trying, right?
Exactly. Just like what I tell you. The bottom line is that, society say men don't take care of their kids. Men are worse than the infidel. But see, here it is. You were left with 3 kids. And not to put that down, but you stepped up to the plate. How many people are going to actually give you that credit, that kudos for you just standing there taking care of 3 kids? They're not going to do that, because that's the way society is. When there's tons of men, there's a national registry that shows tons of men are taking care of their kids, over 50%, just like there's over 50% of single dads taking care of their kids, but they're not going to publicize that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I stay in your ass, because I'm like this, bro. We here for each other. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else is going to give you that support and give you them kudos for what the hell you did. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be your cheerleader just like you'll be mine. That no gay shit, but I'm just saying. But But we need to, as not only as men, but as black men, not only as black men, as human beings, we need to be there, locked, arm in arm, in harmony with each other, because we know how it gets. Sometimes it gets overwhelming. We be ready to throw in the towel. But see, that's the problem. You don't have nobody pouring into you. You have people sucking the life out of you, but you don't have nobody pouring into you, filling you back up from everything that's been sucked out of you. And that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to pour as much, because I want you to be just as successful, you know, because if I can do that, then I don't need to advertise. You become my personal billboard, my personal advertisement. My job was done. You know what I'm saying? I can lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. I'm not going to do that. You know, right. But I try to stay on you as much as possible if I feel that you're worth it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I keep coming on to you. I'll tell you straight out.
Right. No, and I get it, and I appreciate that, because basically what you're saying is that not everybody that walks through that door is really serious when they walk through that door, but they did walk through the door. And when you walk through, you got to stay in there, because it's not going to happen right away. And I think sometimes people get that misconception that, well, as soon as I walk into that room, bam, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to get me a deal. I'm going to find me somebody to buy a house from. I'm going to flip this house. I'm going to get my life going. How long until you actually got your first deal, from the day you first started going to that club in particular? Because I know we talked about Nick Manfredi's club, but from the day that you first started going to that club, how long did it take you to get a deal?
It took me 2 years.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why it took me 2 years. Because of just what you said. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to run and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I made so many mistakes because I was looking at the payday instead of looking at the value. You know what I'm saying? The one thing you got to understand, and Bruce told me, you will always find money. And coming where I'm coming from, I'm like, yeah, right.
Right.
I've been needing money. You know what I'm saying? I ain't found it yet. But you got to understand, take yourself out the equation. You know, in this industry, you're providing a service. So if you're not looking at it as that aspect and you're looking at it just for the money, go find you another career. Go ahead and just be like everybody else, working a job and complaining that, you know, your boss is not treating you no more than your boss do. The company's not valuing your time and your efforts and whatnot. You know, that's fine for some people, but you got to have a heart to understand. Once you take yourself and remove yourself, you know what I'm saying, then doors will open. But if you got one personal agenda, that's why I can understand why Dave Chappell kind of, you know, serendipity that we got the same last name. He just spelled his different than I do. But I can understand why he walked away from all that money, because he didn't want to be controlled. And that's the one thing we got to understand. We cannot look at just the money, because once you look at the money, that's when you're going to be controlled by the money. That's why the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not money that's evil, it's what you do with the money that's evil. So you're knowing that you're looking at money. If you never had money, you're going to use that money in the worst way. You're not going to use it what you say you would use it for. Oh, God, if you bless me with this money, I'm going to go pay for all the homeless and this. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to take that money. You're going to do all the crooked things you have never ever thought about. Because I can go buy this, I can go buy this, I can go do this, I can do. No, that's
every little thing, right?
Exactly. All these cars that you can't drive. You know what I'm saying? You only can drive one car a day. You can't drive all those cars at the same time. I want all houses. You don't need all these houses and whatnot. You know, the one thing that some people are not self-motivated. I'm self-motivated. A lot of people are not. That's why they need vision boards. But when you do ask, you got to be specific. You got to come to the finest detail of what you actually want, you know, and then you go out there and you go get it. Now, not so much by any means necessary, but you need to go find out what it would take for you to go get it, you know. And it's not just real estate. It's not just putting the money in the stock market or annuity or mutual fund where you're getting 0.5%. Why not take that and invest it into a mom and pop business and help that business grow and get 10, maybe 12, maybe 15%. Don't that sound a little bit better? But if you sit here thinking that what the world is doing, how the world is doing is going to get you, you sadly mistaken. That's what investing is all about. Investing. Something could be start up. Something could be already started. How many of us talking about buying oil wells? We already know who the man got 60 of them, and you haven't even mentioned his name yet. You know?
Oh, trust me, I mentioned his name. Just not on this one,
Okay.
not just yet. So
But
yeah,
the point is,
yeah.
he has 60, and that's what we learn in this community. You
Right.
know, is that these guys are not just buying real estate, or buying and holding and using as rental property. They invested in other things. Want to know why? I know because Steve McKee got other businesses, just like I do now. You got to find other ways to bring in revenue besides your regular job that you work. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we don't do. We thinking selling chicken or selling good baskets and whatnot as a side hustle is going to get you money. No, it's not. It's going to get you temporary money. But if you're talking about real money, find a nice side hustle. Like I'm about to write a book. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna write because I can't write, but I'm gonna give me a ghostwriter to help me write it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm writing a book for it's going to be a what's the word I want to use? It's going to be therapeutic for me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking at it from a monetary perspective. I have questions that I haven't got answers on. That's the reason for me doing this book. It's going to be therapeutic.
Okay. Okay. So, can we get into that a little bit more? I mean, or do you not want to touch that?
No problem touching this. No.
Okay. So why would the book be therapeutic? And I do and keep in mind I do want to go back to some of the stuff you were talking about because you did touch on a lot of important points that a person needs because what we were talking about is the fact that a lot of people will walk in the door just like I did, think that okay, all I got to do is take a little bit of money and get me a hard money loan and find me a property over here and then I'm gonna snap my fingers twice, and then all of a sudden, hey baby, I got $15,000 in my account.
Man,
Yeah.
as a wholesaler, because since I didn't have any money and I didn't know what I was doing, I was trying to make anywhere between 5 grand and 10 grand each deal. And that's the problem. I was looking for the home run. You know, it's not always going to be a home run, you
Right.
know, but what can make it a home run is that not just getting one deal, get two, get three, get four. Then you can have a home run. You know, as a wholesaler, you can make anywhere between 2 grand to 20 grand, depending on how it's structured. Also, JV partnerships, you know what I'm saying, which is joint ventures. You know, that's another way. Some joint ventures, you don't have to put in any money into it. You'll have your buyer that'll do everything and they can split the proceeds with you. Or the other way is that, you bring something to the table and you get back what you put in, you know. So if you can't afford for the purchase of the house, then you can come in with the rehab costs. So if the rehab cost is 50 grand, you have 50 grand and you get 9%, 10% on your return on that 50 grand, you get back some money. So it just depends on how it's set up, but I did the same thing because I was looking at, hey, I need money. I need money. I need money. At the time, I moved to California for my girlfriend and at the time we both were struggling and she allowed me to put all my energy into doing this while she worked 2 jobs, you know what I'm saying? And it got so frustrating because money was a big factor. Money was a big factor as well as, the car. We only had one car between us and it was breaking down and we was trying to rob Peter P. Paul to get things done. And it became very frustrating to where, yeah, we split up for a minute. You know what I'm saying? We did. But that's how serious this thing is. I eat, I slept, I drunk. I spent countless of hours just studying this business. They went places, I stayed in because that's all I did 7 days a week. But it wasn't hard. It was easy and fun for me because I got good at what I was doing, you know. So when I first started, yeah, it took me about 2.5 years before everything kicked in, and I had a good train going. You know, I was buying a property like crazy. Then it went down again. So now, a year and a half later, it's picked back up, you know, to where I'm finding properties. We just bought three. You know, I'm looking at buying three more or four more, whatever the case. As long as I can find it, because it's turned into a buyer's market, I'm doing it.
Now, when you and I did have a guy tell me, this is last year, man. I was going into my second deal, and I had one of the guys. This is a guy that I was selling one of my deals to, and he told me, man, he was like, Alvin, he goes, sometimes you got to look at it like it's a baseball game. He said, you're not always going to hit a home run. He said, you could be the best slugger in the league, and you only going to hit the ball three out of what is that, 3 out of 9 times,
Exactly.
or 3 out of 10 times. But he said, but not all of them going to be home runs. Sometimes you're going to get a base hit. Sometimes you might get a double. Sometimes you might hit that triple. But every now and then you hit you a home run, and then every now and then you hit you a grand slam. And those are the ones where you get those. And you've heard the stories. I mean, heck, we've been talking about them. You know, you hear cats that end up getting a $35,000 wholesale fee. Another guy gets a $80,000 wholesale fee.
Exactly.
Another dude got a $120,000 wholesale fee. And you hear stories like that, and you knew when you walking in the door, and you're like, man, that could be me. I could be the next guy. In fact, that could be every deal I do because I know I'm better than that dude, right? You
See,
get
that's
you get all pumped up, and
that's the
then
hook.
right, and then once you get in there, because you know they got all the shows on TV and all that stuff, and then once you get in there, you get the information, and then you start going out looking for deals. Well, most of the time, most of the people, half the people don't even go out and look for deals once they get to their first meeting. They still kind of fumbling around, trying to study and all that stuff. And then you got the other half that go start looking for deals. And because they, do all this due diligence, they find the property, they, get all the information, and then they go through all that, and then they call the guy, and then they say, no, we don't want to sell. And then they hang up, and then they're like, okay, this don't work. Real estate just don't work. Ain't nobody gonna sell to me,
Oh,
So
and without cutting you off, but the point of it is that you don't have the patience. You don't believe in yourself. That's the one thing we don't do in this world. And I hate to say it, but to now where my eyes is open, we can go to any organization we ever go to. We can go to church and all this and this, that. But the point is that nobody's pouring into you. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't truly understand what our value is. And all we looking at the glamorous side of, oh, the money, the money, the money, because we glamorize the money. But money ain't always cracked up to be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, money will give you things and you can go places and do stuff. But I don't care how much money you have. It's never going to make you happy. It's not going to replace human beings and whatnot. So you got to understand coming into this business that, you got to understand the language first, because if you don't understand the language, it's distorted. And that's the one thing we don't do. We hear a couple of things and say, oh, I got it. Then you want to go out there. Now you didn't trial and error. And now you upset because it didn't happen the way you expected because you ready to quit your job. You know what I'm saying? But not only that, you got to have a backup plan. And the backup plan is having a way to have income stream coming in. So whether you turn around and have income properties or you work on another job or whatever the case may be, until you build your portfolio, and you got to keep on doing what you're doing. Just like what I had. I had money last year and I screwed it over because I didn't have an income stream come in. Now that I have an income stream come in and waiting for that year and a half when I didn't have any deals, I wouldn't have went through the stuff I went through. But now I'm doing it right. So now I have an income stream coming in as well as doing this at the same time. So it's better for me now because I had to learn from that mistake. Not that I did not know it, and I did spend the money crazy. I was playing catch up. because that's all I was doing was playing catch up, And when you playing catch up, and then you still got more money going out than you got coming in, it sucks all your money away, you know. Then I got the club that I got to pay advertisement for, all these other things. And then when I have a club meeting, the room costs me money. And if I don't break even, then I lost. Now I got to go back, and when I go for the next month, not only am I paying for that meeting, but I'm also paying for the money I lost and hoping that I can make it up. It's not always golden like that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have an extra income stream in order to stay afloat until the floodgates open up again.
That is true because you know, because of the fact that the club consists of real estate investors, and sometimes you may have the misconception that, well, they must have money, they must be balling, so why are they charging at the door? I thought there was no fee. I thought they weren't trying to stick it to you like that. The fact that there is a fee is because it's a club for the people, and it's not just a club just for one or two individual people to benefit from. The club is there for everybody to benefit from, and therefore everybody must kick in, right? So, and that's all you asking them to do is just please kick in so we can all come together at this particular place. It's a nice comfortable setting where everybody can feel safe, to where service is immaculate, and we don't have to worry about anything except for meeting each other and shaking hands. Well, now in COVID, I guess we ain't supposed to shake hands, but but meeting each other and just getting to know one another on a personal level, not just, hey, how you doing? My name is Alvin. Yeah, I got a deal I'm trying to sell here and all that. Those are the networking events that I used to go to before I got involved in real estate, because when you an entrepreneur, you out there trying to hustle and do your side hustle and all that, you go to them networking events, and what happens, Thomas? Everybody trying to sell their product to everybody else, right? They don't do that in the real estate club. They don't do that unless you knew Western, but otherwise they don't do that.
What you give the
It's a car salesman in every room, ain't it? But yeah, so that's really the benefit of being in the club, of kicking in with the $20. We doing it on Zoom and still kicking in the $20 because this club will still have those expenses no matter what. And the fact is, I told somebody the other day, this is somebody that I know that wants to get involved in real estate, and she's like, well, why do they charge even, because it's on Zoom? And I said, well, honestly, it's still a club. There's still benefits that are, coming from it. And the true real truth, I said, if you want to get real about it, I said, the club runs at a deficit. We're supposed to have sponsors to help pay for the actual club. But what ends up happening is that the budget falls short every month, and there's two people right at the top that end up coming out of pocket every month. Oh, wait, excuse me. We're talking about two clubs. So there's four people that come out of pocket to make sure that those meetings happen on time every month. And we appreciate you, all four of you, dearly. That's Todd, Stephen, Joanna, and Mr. Thomas, who I'm talking to right now. So Thomas, so back to the motivation part, because this is something that you and I talk about quite a bit, especially lately on the phone, because it's always, one thing that we're always talking about when it comes to your meetings, or when it just comes to real estate in general, is how do we get more of our people involved in real estate? How do we get more of our people interested in having a conversation about money? Why is it so taboo for us to talk about money in the first place? I remember being a kid, and I asked my dad how much money he make. My dad didn't even want to tell me how much money you make. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, that's just the thing. It's like, why is it so taboo in a black family to talk about money, or in a middle class family? Why is it so taboo for the middle class to talk about money at the
because
dinner table or otherwise? And I'm not just talking about black families. I'm talking about you white folks too, and you Latinos. We
well,
all guilty of this.
the biggest problem is that we don't understand the value of money. See, we was taught economics and finance, but we wasn't taught how not to get in debt, how to stay out of debt because this country's based on debt. And the thing of
Well,
it is,
what do you mean by that? Why is it? What do you say this country is based on debt? Can you explain that, please?
yeah, that's what I was getting ready to do. But yeah,
Okay.
because the fact is, we were never supposed to pay taxes. It was a temporary problem, became a permanent solution. You know what I'm saying? Basically, everything that's going on in government was a temporary problem that became a permanent solution, and it's based off of the greed. You know what I'm saying? So when you don't understand the value of the money, the power of money, that's why it describes money as the root of all evil because money is powerful. And the only reason why it's powerful because when you have it, you have the capability to go buy whatever you want. If you want to go buy a car and your credit screwed up, all you gotta do is lay the cash down. You know what I'm saying? But in this country, it's that they need to know where the money coming from because there's only supposed to be a certain class of people that have that kind of money. And we know how they got it. They're crooked. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know who the five families are, then you just don't understand. They're the most powerful people in this country. You know what I'm saying? Just like people don't understand the Internal Revenue Service do not belong to the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? So
Really,
it doesn't.
really,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
it does
You
not.
know, so we were talking about, and we get into this every now and then, and it's important to always make note of it when we having a conversation. The IRS and the Federal Reserve, they are not a part of the United States. They are not a part of the United States government.
Correct.
They are two businesses, and one of them is in the business of printing money, physical money, and injecting fake money.
Right.
Now, the other business is in the business of collecting it.
Right.
So you got one business that prints it and then the other one that collects it back. Now, who are the five families? Because I think this came up a few weeks ago around 4th of July. There was some controversial tweets that were made by Deshaun Jackson and Steven Jackson, and man, the Jacksons just man, how come them Jacksons can't can't keep it straight, man? What's going on with the Jacksons? So tell me about the five families because I think the Jackson tweets got kind of misconstrued, and it's connected to what you were about to tell me. I'm sure. So please explain.
Okay. The Bush. The
And
Bush.
by the way, and I do want to say, you are not an anti-Semite. And I'm not joking around about that. Thomas is not an anti-Semite. Thomas is not a racist. Thomas is one of the most open, most inviting, welcoming people that I know. And I'm not one of them people that'll say, "Hey, man, I'm not racist. I got a Mexican friend." No, no, I ain't that dude. So, and Thomas ain't that dude either. So we need to get into it. But Thomas is not an anti-Semite. But please, Thomas, explain who the five families are and how that's connected to banking.
Okay. The Bush family is the number one family in the world. They're the
Okay.
most powerful people in the world. Second is the Morgan family. The Morgans are the J.P. Morgan Bank, Chase
Hmm.
Bank. They're the second largest family in the world. Then you have the DuPonts. If anybody remember the product, the DuPonts and all them stuff, they the third. And then you have fourth or fifth, I forgot. You have the Rothschilds, and you have yeah,
Rockefeller.
Rockefellers. That's the last one. They are
Okay.
the most powerful families in the world.
Okay.
Powerful. All they ancestries, they were crooks. They stole. You know what I'm saying? Just like there's no such thing as the United States of America. There isn't. You know, purpose of it be called the United States because all the states came together and became united. You know, but I understand that part of your history, and just like with the Boston Tea Party, that was one of the main reasons for the Boston Tea Party because they stole this land from the Native Americans, and the Native Americans and Spaniards were they co-mingle together, or entanglement, as Jada says. But the thing of it is, and that's we don't as a people we don't know our history, because I can sit here and talk about Hannibal. A lot of people don't know who the hell Hannibal is. You know what I'm saying? One of the baddest African warriors that ever lived. And if he would have marched on Rome, this country would not be what it is today. So understanding who you are and where you came from is the biggest thing, a misconception. That's why when it comes down to money, we don't understand it. We never understood it as a people. We didn't talk about it because we didn't have it to talk about. And we didn't know how to go buy it. That's just like only thing we know how to do is lawnmower services, chicken shacks, and not big corporations, starting from ground. So you have a book by Dennis Kimbrough called The Wealthy Choice. And then he's got another book that he just kind of just took bits and pieces from and called it Think and Grow Rich, The Wealthy Choice. Talks about how a lot of these black entrepreneurs became like Madam C.J. Walker, and all these other folks that became rich and all the things they did to become rich. And we have not took upon the ancestry of learning and understand the value of money. Money is very powerful. You can get whatever you want. You don't have to be able to wait for a handout. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we've been doing for so long, is waiting on a handout. So the quickest thing we do now is we try to, just like a drug dealer, we go try to find the quickest way to make money. So a lot of our youth are now looking at, what's going on in the music industry. You know what I'm saying? What's going on in the entertainment industry. That's why I say, you know what? If you had a platform, could you tell every dirty thing you ever done in your life? And people say, no, it's none of their business. Well, they should, because you are your brother's keeper. Because the fact of the matter is that somebody out there has gone through the same exact thing you're going through, but not the same way. Everything is tailor-made to you and to you alone. But you help that person to see the light at the end of the tunnel, because they've been trying to shake that thing. They've been having problems shaking it. Then you ask yourself, what kind of legacy or contribution can you leave on this earth today that if you was to die, everybody will celebrate the fact that you was alive? And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a celebrity or an entertainer, and not just your family and friends that like you, your enemies and people that don't know you. When you become to that point in your life, things change, And like I said, want to do this book, doing it for therapeutic. Now the book I'm going to do is going to be talking about erectile dysfunction, and I'm suffering with it, and it's not an old man's thing because I'm 54. It's a young man's thing too. The youngest is 14, but it's because of the things that we put in our bodies, the stuff we drink, the stuff we eat, and that we're not taking care of our bodies, that's breaking us down. You know what I'm saying? Because we wasn't built to eat all this crap that we eat. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have the cancers and all the different things that we go through in life, because of what we put into our bodies and whatnot. So my point is, I went to the professionals, went to the doctor, urologist, went to therapy, went to the church, and nobody could answer the questions that I was looking for. So I'm doing a book. And maybe somebody can help me understand what I'm dealing with and how to get through it and stuff like that, because we all need it. We all here for each other, so understanding what the value of money is that this is why we have this community. And you can call up a person and say, hey, look, I got this deal. I'm not sure how to put it together, or my numbers are not coming out right. Could you help me? And they have no problem helping you out. Now, there's some people that don't want to help you. I ain't gonna say that there's not people that don't want to help you, but there's a bunch of us that we can call all day long and ask the same question 10,000 times, and they still be willing to help.
10,000 ways. And you know what? This is the thing about doing the interview with you, Thomas, is that I'll never know which direction it's gonna steer, because we went from
I be all over
we, we went from the five families to erectile dysfunction. Boy, you can get there in like 3.3 seconds too.
But the funny part about it is
Yeah.
tie it all together. See, With me
Yeah.
on the rectile, I have a choice to either deal with it or let it deal with me. You see
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying? If I
Yeah.
don't deal with it, then I'm going to be just like everybody else. I'm going to throw my hands up and quit. That's just the same thing about the value of money. If I don't understand the value of money, how to make my money great versus trying to say, well, oh, why don't you put into, it's just like saying having a savings account. What the hell is a savings account?
Right. Right. What the
Invest
hell is a
money over
savings account?
you got the money over here, you can spend it now. You see what I'm saying? So all these things that subliminally tell you what not to do, I got to do the opposite. And if I
Right.
do the opposite, then I can see myself being great at what I'm doing because I'm in control instead of letting someone else control me. That's why I can say the things that I say because that box that we watch every day sends you subliminal messages every day. We can sit back and finish eating a 7-course meal and we sit down and watch TV when the commercial come on by some new food or new dessert. Damn, that looks good. I want to try that. Now the question is, when you gonna try it? Are you gonna try it at night, or are you gonna wait till the next day to go try it?
Right.
Teaching you what to do and when to do it, versus you taking control of your life and understand how you can capitalize on making the kind of money you want. See, we don't understand that banks is only giving you a 0.5%. We don't understand when you go to play the stock market and you give your money to a broker, he's making his commission, whatever that might be, and you only getting a 0.5% on your return. So 30, 40, 50 years from now, you not even made your principal back. You see what I'm saying? Where if you controlled your money, like putting it invested into a company or buying a note and getting 10% or getting 9% on your return, you're like, what the hell is that? Don't that sound better? But yeah, but how do I go by doing that? You know, Andy does it all the time when he buy and sell notes. He's teaching people how to buy and sell notes.
And well, and that's the thing. Like, so, to the average person, like before I got involved in real estate, I didn't know what a note was. I knew what a promissory note was. I kind of knew what it meant, but I didn't know that that was the type of thing that normal people could create, let alone buy and sell. I thought that that was something that you had to have a license for, or you had to be a broker to handle promissory notes, or only a bank could do it. So these are things that most people just watching this interview may have never even stepped inside of a room of real estate investors and don't even know what a note is or how to create one or how it could even benefit them. Like if I'm just like the average Joe and I'm working a job and I'm putting money into my retirement every month, and I got a 401k, for example, like what would you tell me to do? Because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this interview and I'm getting pumped up because Thomas is talking about a note. So, like, what's a note? What would I do with a note? How can I get a note? Get one of these? Like, why would I want one of these?
Well, you just said it right there. Is that um, one, we don't understand, so we don't trust. You see what I'm saying? And if you had a 401k, I'll tell you, take that damn thing out of that 401k, take the penalty. What you get out of it, now you turn around and you can invest it into a note. Now you got to find the right person so you can do the note. Because first back up. First, you got to understand what the note is. Then once you understand what the note is, now you got to find that person that you can turn around and get 9%, 10% on your return, your annual return. You see what I'm saying? Or let's say if you got 40K right now, 50K right now, and it's just sitting in a Roth or something like that, and it's not making no money. Take it out, turn around and invest it. Now you're going to get, I invested into Back Porch Homes, but I didn't invest into Back Porch Homes. I invested into Stephen McKee and Ty Bear because they took me up under their wing and they taught me, you know. So now, in the next 4 to 5 years from now, I'm going to be able to get large sums of money based on me investing. And I'm around them all the time. I'm protecting my investment. But the fact of the matter is that instead of me being with Edward Jones and Associates, with who I used to be with, now with somebody else, and I'm controlling my own asset. And that's the biggest part. Instead of letting some broker from Edward Jones and Associate, which is a third party company, that's going to take a big chunk out of my money and I get nothing in return.
Right.
Learn how
Right.
to invest your own money, knowing what you invest in your own money in and control it. You know what I'm saying? Rental property is a start. It's a start, you know, but the big part of it is that learning what to invest into. Now, just like with Mick Blackwell, been around him long enough, he's like, no, man, go invest into an oil well. Oil well? I didn't know how to go about getting one. He turned me on to the person who I can go get one with. Now, I will actually own a oil pump.
So how does one go and get an oil well? Like, because again, just like the note, I would have thought that I had to know a oil wildcat, or I gotta be able to have Jerry Jones on my speed dial or something like that. Right, I'm wearing a hat, Jerry. You should be able to hook me up with one of your wells or something. So how do I go out and buy an oil well, Thomas? I didn't even know that was possible for a guy like me, a regular guy like me, to be able to buy an oil well. How did you go about doing that?
Well, first things first, you don't need to say that you're a regular guy. That's one thing.
Okay.
Put yourself in that kind of category. Just like I tell people, don't use the word try because try means you fail. You know,
Right.
but the fact is that being around people now, we promoting the investment club basically because we're investors, and the investment club is basically teaching us how to invest and what to invest in. You know what I'm saying? So learning from the guys that are already doing it, this is why we go to these meetings, is because they're giving us information that they don't have to give us. They've done these things in trial and error, and they made a lot of mistakes. So what they're doing is showing us that we should not, by them telling us what they did, then we shouldn't make them same mistakes. We should be go above and beyond. That's just like using MLK. Everybody uses the terminology MLK dropped the baton and nobody picked it up. They keep looking at it. It's still on the track, waiting for somebody to pick it up and run with it. But no one has done that. So that's the whole point, being around those who are doing it and they're explaining to you so you won't make that mistake and you can go beyond them. You're supposed to supersede what they're doing. That's why I like Kobe Bryant. He superseded his dad. His dad wasn't the best ball player that ever lived. That's why he ended up going over to France to go play. But his son came back and superseded him, became better than him. And that's what you're supposed to do, is supersede your mentor, your parents, your grandparents, everybody. You're supposed to supersede. And as we go on, the next generation is supposed to supersede what you did. You know what I'm saying? Do something greater. You're supposed to be an asset to the world. And the only way you can be an asset to the world is that now you got to learn what it takes to become that asset.
Okay. So basically, in a nutshell, it's almost like, because what I hear you saying from everything that you said, going back to talking about the book and why you wrote the book, and how important that is to put that out there, because as men, we normally don't talk about things in general, excuse me, let alone our health problems. And so when it comes to health problems, we don't talk about that. And so when it comes to something like erectile dysfunction, we definitely wouldn't talk about something like that. So what you saying is, you went out trying to seek some information, some help with it, and you discovered not only is there no information, but heck, there's not even a support group for something like that, because men are too embarrassed to talk about it. And that's the problem that we got in general with people in the middle class, because we keep everything to ourselves. We keep everything close to the hip because we believe that there's some sort of scarcity out there in the world. And that was something that's a concept that was born out of, I have no idea, maybe born out of the ice age or something like that. I mean, heck, you go out in the outer space, you see this big planet and all this green. How is there any scarcity? But yet people think that the planet is scarce of resources, and so we all hoard stuff to ourselves, even information. And then when you're trying to share stuff, it's like you the only guy out there that's trying to share anything. And so I get it. So you basically saying, if you're trying to get over in life, if you're sick of the same shit, over and over and over again. I hope you two don't bump me off the air. Then just do something different. Just do something different. Just do the opposite. Do it the Thomas way. Instead of what would Jesus do, what would Thomas do?
Yeah,
Right?
you can say that, but it's just like Kobe saying the mama mentality. The point is that you cannot be afraid of being in your own skin. You know what I'm saying? And the hell what people think. That's why I said by exposing yourself, if you can tell the whole entire world everything you've done, you're not afraid in your skin because we all done something that we're ashamed of. So that's the one thing. So there's nothing that you can tell somebody will freak them the hell out. Just like the wheel has been invented. You cannot reinvent the wheel, but you damn sure enhance the wheel. You can make it better. That's the supersede part. But you got to be comfortable in your own skin. You know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be good criticism and there's going to be bad criticism. And we are more afraid of the bad criticism than we are the good criticism because the good one's going to keep you going. Oh, well, people like this and I'm good at what I'm doing. It okay, I'm going to keep on doing this. But if I get the bad criticism, then I'm gonna doubt myself. Well, you know what? They must be right because if there's too many people telling me the same thing, they got to be right. There's something I'm missing. You know what I'm saying? If God has given you something, no man can take it away from. That's why in the marriage vows it said, "What God has put together, no man can put us under." Basically saying that what God has for you is for you. It's tailor made for you, not for anybody else. You are the missing link, and whatever it is the world is seeking. Like I told my son, he's 17 now. I told my son he wanted to at the age of 9. I'm talking about building a teleportation machine. And I said,
Mhm.
don't you know how fascinating this country's been with transporting in time? They done made too many TV movies and movies and sitcoms about time travel. You know what I'm saying? You are the missing piece because if God birthed that into you, he put that baby into you. Now it's time for you to release that baby so that baby can be born. And you're that one missing link that can catapult whatever it is already going on because we already have the technology. If nobody believes it, that we can type in the air, we already have that technology. But you cannot filter to the general population because we're trying to get rid of one chaos, which is people typing on the phone, to driving and typing and scrolling through Instagram and Facebook. Just imagine if you can do this in the air. Boy, it'd be more chaotic than anything, just like over there in Germany. They got topless women holding speed signs. Don't you know how many accidents is really happening over there? So it's basically how you look at yourself. The hell with what people say and the hell with what people do. It's all about how you look, how you value yourself. What value do you have? Where do you see yourself? Do you have any value? What's your worth? If you're not worth anything, then you need to figure out what you're worth. I met one guy. He said that he didn't understand the word love. He said his mother told him when he was a child. He didn't understand the word love, and he never said it back to her. After he didn't went to school, got his degrees and all this other stuff, made his money, he took a sabbatical. He went all over the world to find out what the word love means. You got to find out who you are.
Mhm.
Once you find out who you are, the best of you is going to come out. And people will revere that when it does come out. Right now, people don't know you. That's why you got all these masks on. You're covering yourself up with all that foundation and stuff that you put on. It's time to take the mask off and really reveal who you are. And then once you reveal who you are, people love you even more. Because that's all we want in this world is to be loved. Want to be in love and want to be loved. That's it.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Now, so I'm hearing a lot from you, Thomas, as far as like the concept of being an entrepreneur, the concept of being a successful real estate investor. It really does go beyond the material, is what you're saying. It really has nothing to do with real estate. I mean, once we get it all out the way, it really has to do with what's going on internally, how you're thinking, how you think about yourself, how you think about the world and your place in it. Is that what I'm hearing from you correctly?
Exactly. Because see, just like you said, success. It's what does success mean to you? See, everybody has a different definition for success. What you might think success is, the next person might not. We're all not going to think the same. We're all not going to feel the same. So your definition of success is to you and tailor-made to you alone. So whatever you feel that you're successful in, then you keep that going. Basically it.
Okay. So now let's talk about the club a little bit more. So we were talking about, going back to the whole notion about us, finding that we're not getting enough brothers and sisters coming in there. A lot of times brothers and sisters will come in there, but they'll only go to one meeting and never return. Uh, so how does that make you feel in relation to specifically how our people are dealing with this and the particular problems that we have um, mentally, physically, when it comes to just having simply just the time, you might have to work, a job all day long and things like that, might feel too tired to go to the club meeting or something like that. I mean, how does, when it comes to our people, like, how is that something that you see that we can address that problem? And I know it's nothing that me or you can personally do, and I'm not trying to put the onus on you as far as solving the problem for our people, because no one individual man can do that. It's all about each individual person themselves wanting to solve a problem. But what would you suggest to that person who just doesn't, they want to get out of what they're in, they want to make more money, they want to have a better life for their kids and their family, who wouldn't? But why is it that they have a hard time coming down to the meeting? And what do you think a person can do to get themselves, motivated like that?
Well, the one thing is our expectation. We got a very high expectation. We got to get rid of it, throw it out the window. Because if you're coming to something, you're expecting that they're going to give you the golden ticket so your problems will all be solved. I cannot solve your problem. The meeting can't solve your problem. Anybody there cannot solve your problem. You need to solve your own problem. So you can't come in there with preconceived ideals. And that's where people come in. Oh, I've heard about it, da, 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 da. Okay, but I don't like this. It's like people that go to church. If they favorite preacher's not preaching, if they favorite choir director's not directing, they don't stay because they had the wrong expectations. They came in there thinking that this person was going to move all their ills out the way and they was going to see a green light. No, I can't do that. You got to come in there with a mindset that I'm just going to be a sponge and take what it is, take what applies to me and throw the rest away, and then work on it from there. But then you don't want to open up and say, hey, I don't understand, I need help. Now you can talk to people about anything you want to do in the world. You don't have to give them every detail. But see, we're so afraid that people are going to steal our ideals that we don't want to talk, because that's the way we were taught. That's the reference to the table. The bottom line is that he says, come as you are. If you come as you are, he's going to give you the help, because he's going to put people in your life to help you. Now, if people have heard of the movie of, so tip my tongue, hold on. The Founder. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. If people would have really understood what that movie was about, it wasn't about him being the founder of McDonald's, or the franchise of McDonald's, I should say. It was the fact that he was allowing people to come in his life, and be a support system. He had an ideal, just like what Bill Gates did when he did Microsoft. A lot of those folks worked for him for free because they believe in his passion. You see what I'm saying? That they was able to come and work for him for free without trying to get a handout, without trying to have an ulterior motive. You know what I'm saying? So when you get rid of that, you can go far in life. That's what holds you down, is the expectation. I'm expecting this and I got that. That's why I became the unofficial ambassador to the club, because I would let minorities know, don't look at the way these guys dress. Listen to what they got to say before you come and make up your own mind, because you never know. But if you got your own preconceived ideas, they wearing flip flop shorts and t-shirts. They don't know what the hell they talking about. You know what I'm saying? But look at the stuff they done. Look how successful they have. They know how to create. They created Back Porch Homes. They also got the radio show that I've been on 7 times already. So you can't go into anything with preconceived ideals. And when you do that, you shoot your own self in the foot, because you're never going to get what you're looking for, because you expecting one thing and you got something else and you don't like it now and you walk away from it. That's why I referenced the table. That's what came in my spirit. I called it the table, because if you stayed at that table, no matter what, you're going to eventually get what you want. Just like Steve Harvey said, you have not because you ask not. Not because you came in there with preconceived ideas, because you asked not. You expect it to happen instantaneous, because that's what the church folk tell you. It happens instantaneously. Yeah, it does. But you got to get rid of those preconceived ideals.
So basically, your best advice is come down here with a clean slate.
Exactly.
Just like no expectations, just know you want to get involved in real estate and just keep an open mind. Is that what they should do?
Here's a thought. My background, my logo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, back in the day, this was something to be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most folks, it's controversial now. A lot of black folks don't like it. It's too controversial. White folks ain't gonna like it, but you know what?
Uh-huh.
Several white people wearing a t-shirt and wearing a mask.
Is that right?
How you like me now?
Several white people.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
now,
I love controversy. I do.
Right. And it's the type of thing to where when you're wearing a shirt like that out on the street, what's the first thing that happens? I mean, especially if you're a white person, what is the average person gonna do when they look at that shirt?
Well, now, because of the Black Lives Matter stuff, some people like, okay, I get it.
Right.
But before that Black Lives Matter crap,
Uh-huh.
People's like, oh man, he's a rebel, he's pro-black, and he's a panther, he coming from back in those days. Well, hell, I was young when they was around, but yeah. The point of it is that it gives you the word I'm looking for, a certain kind of because it means something. It's something that you could be proud of.
So when I first saw the shirt, and I was talking to I think may have been talking to Susan or Ryan, and they said, it gets people asking, what is that? And that's the main thing, like, because that shirt looks like it could be from back in the day, like it's Black Panther. I don't know why anybody would think that, by the way, but okay. All right.
Come on,
right. Yeah, I did the afro. Okay.
Now it's a house.
Right. Well, shoot, my son was wearing an afro for years, so But anyway, so I get it. But it gets people asking, hey, what is that? And it opens up a conversation to start talking about real estate. And that's like, it's the same thing that I tell people all the time. It's like, do something that'll make you stand out in the room. I mean, heck, you already, it's already enough. And it ain't like you're going to walk into the room and you're going to be the only Black person. That's the thing. So it's not like college. Yeah, I didn't go to a HBCU, so it was not like college. But here it's like, yeah, you got to do something to stand out, because people want to be able to remember you. And that's why I always tell you, like, when I had to figure out what I was going to do, well, shoot, I got the bald head. So I decided, well, I'll just wear my Cowboys hat all the time, because at the very least, if I'm talking to somebody on the phone, they're like, who is this? I'll be like, it's the guy with the cowboy hat on. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember you. But the main thing is that, like, so when you wear that t-shirt, you're gonna be out on the street, somebody ask you about it, you say, hey, this is a Black, real estate, Oh, real estate. Yeah, I always wanted to get into real estate. Okay, let me get your number. Hey, who is this? It's the guy with the shirt on.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. The shirt, the real
Exactly.
estate shirt, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, exactly. And so that's the thing. Like, yeah, yeah, it promotes the club, but it also it's something that you wear to stand out. And then because we're all students of Andy, I consider myself like one of Andy's many illegitimate children. And so so Andy is always preaching about how important it is to always be advertising. And I'm getting close. I keep on saying I'm getting close to doing my printouts, but no, actually, I didn't even think about doing printouts of shirts myself. And I'm sitting here talking to you. I'm thinking to myself, why didn't I think about that? We're talking about signs, but no shirts. But again, it's like those are the things that help stand out. It's good promotion. It's a way to get people talking. It's a way to get deals. It's a way
Exactly.
to just get people interested in what is real estate. What's how much money can you make? I noticed that I was talking to Todd one time. We were after a meeting over at the Mission Inn bar. And I pay attention to how Todd and Steven work that bar because they're really good at it. They're some of the best salesmen you ever meet. And Todd does a really good job of talking about real estate just loud enough so that somebody can hear that get curious to ask, because there's a bunch of businessmen at that bar. There's a bunch of, how do I say it, working class, middle class, upper middle class, usually white dudes, but a mix, but usually white dudes. And they're usually there on a business trip, right? Doing something business oriented. And so Todd knows this. And so he'll purposely speak up a little bit when we're talking about real estate and deals and whatever. And then, I mean, I swear to God, 7 times out of 10, some of them will say, "Hey man, what are you guys talking about? You guys in the real estate? Yeah. What do you do?" Todd's answer: "Oh, I help investors make 7 to 10%."
It is.
If that ain't a conversation opener, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? So,
That's to go back what we was talking about earlier when we were saying about how do we get people to come.
uh-huh.
Like Bruce told me, like I said a long time ago, it's easy to find money. And it took me a minute to wrap my head. How the hell is it so easy to find money?
Right, right.
And when you saying that, that means that you got to be around the people that's going to buy the deal. There was this guy I saw last year. He had a reality show, and I saw the promo because I like watching Shark Week, and I saw the promo, and he was talking about that he could show America that you can become a millionaire. So what he did was he took $100 because he's one of the biggest finance companies in Florida, and he took $100 and he went to Erie, Pennsylvania, and he started the journey. Now, a lot of it was it was a reality part. They had the drama, but a lot of it was real. He was saying that he grew up with 2 alcoholic parents. He also said that he was dyslexic. Now, this is a white guy.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he fathered a kid at the age of 14. It's a white guy, and he barely graduated high school. And he became a very successful, wealthy person. So what he ended up doing, showing the reality, said he took a regular cell phone with no contact information in there. He slept out of his car, and he created a business, and he promoted the small business development department. They're in every state. I use them now to help me with my social media because I don't know shit about social media. I don't care about social media. I don't want to learn social media, but because I have a business, I promote on Facebook and Instagram. Okay. So my numbers have gone up because I'm putting content out there. But the point of it is there is so much help out there that people don't know anything about. And we are afraid because we think people are out to get us instead of helping us. And even if we don't know anything, that's the best part. Because now if you're willing just to take yourself out the way and soak up all that information by being a sponge, there's a lot you can learn. And what he taught me is that don't go find product without finding your buyer first. Because if you get product and you go to your buyer, you got product your buyer can't buy because that's not what he needs. But if you go find out what your buyer needs, he'll buy all your product. He'll buy
Okay.
every last thing you have. And the second thing he did was he went to a used car dealership. He went to one that was going out of business because the others didn't want to sell him a car. He went to a car dealership that was going out of business. They negotiated a price on the vehicle. The vehicle was in good condition. All he did was take it to the car wash and stuck it on a lot. He wanted to sell it for $4,500, ended up selling it for $3,900. He bought the car for $700, so he made a $3,200 profit. So creatively, he found ways to make money. When he first moved there, it was in the wintertime, and it was St. Patty's Day. So he turned around, went to the dollar store and bought up all the St. Patrick Day stuff. And then he went out selling it. By the time nightfall, he sold everything he had. So you got to be creative, and finding ways to create money. You know what I'm saying? Whatever your side hustle is, but it's got to be side hustle that people want, not what you want. It's got to be what the people want. That's like what the OJ's got to give the people what they want. So you got to find out what the people want that they're going to buy, and then you go out there and create it. Not create what you want and then try to sell it. And then you got to be in the area where they're going to buy it. You just can't stay in the hood and sell it because everybody in the hood is not going to buy it. And then on top of that, they're going to want a discount. They're going to want to hook up. Or let me pay you next week. I'll get you next week. I got you. And you never see them. So that's what you have to do. You got to find out what's in demand. And you can sell every piece of product you have. But if you buy stuff that's not in demand, you're not gonna sell it. You're not. You're gonna wait a while. So like with me, with an e-commerce business, I got the shirts on Teesprings, and all I did was upload the image, and they got product, socks, throw pillows, leggings, hoodies, and my logos on every last one of them. So
Okay.
I don't have to go out and buy the product. It's on there. You can pick and choose. You can pick what color you want, the whole 9 yards. The only thing that they didn't capitalize on were the masks. So I'm selling the masks separately. But otherwise, no. This is why we don't stay, because we don't understand how to get out of our way and be creative. You know what I'm saying? And being able to find out what the people want. Just like you said, this is a very unique situation with the logo. People see it, they want to talk, they want to know. They see Steven with the shirt on. What the hell he know about the Afro and the Afro picker? They look at him crazy, but then that strikes a conversation. Matter of fact, he wore the mask and put it on Facebook. Some woman that we don't even know went back and forth with him. Black woman. How the hell are you going to try to profit off of this? He says, I'm not profiting off of this. I'm just helping my partner, Thomas, sell his mask. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where she quit. She just gave up because she had no comeback. Because mine is his. I'm just helping him promote his business.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. So that's just what we have to look at, is that we have to get out of our way, and stop coming with preconceived ideas. That's why a lot of them don't care. But see, look at my club. I almost have 1,800 members. Not all 18 don't come at one time, but the clubs grow every day. If I wanted to quit, the train is going to keep going. I can't stop this train. It's going to keep going. So you wonder why we don't have a lot of things for our community, because everybody don't support it.
Right. No, and that's the thing, man. Like a lot of times, we get into the fact that, the club is open to everybody, and it's mainly there for us, for our people to come through, showcase the talents that they have in real estate, the money game, whatever it may be. You leave it very open to making sure that you could have a guest speaker that looks like us, talks like us, come through as often as possible. But of course, a lot of our mentors are from the main club, and so they tend to be Caucasian, and they tend to be male. Not a lot of women real estate investors out there. Now, there are a lot of women in the club, and we do encourage women to get involved in real estate, get involved in talking about money, and come down to the meetings. But as far as the types of people that we have available to us as mentorship in the club, not a lot of women. But in the case of the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Club, we do have a woman who is a mentor, and she happens to be a white woman. And because of that, and I bring that up because you always make a point of going to the meetings, and not just our club, but other clubs in Southern California, and you tell everybody this is the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Club, but everybody is welcome. And because of that, as it turns out, there will be some nights where we'll have more white people showing up to the meetings than Black people. Is that right?
Yeah,
So,
right.
and we do have a good Latino presence at the meetings that seems to be pretty consistent. Would you say?
Exactly.
So, and trust me, we could use a lot more Latinos at this meeting and at the main club. We could use a lot more, but in regard to the Black Club, Thomas, and how you approach that, and your feelings about the fact that we have so many Caucasian participants, speak on that for a minute, if you would.
Well, I mean, the one thing you don't know, Sharon's gonna come on board and become a mentor at the club.
Okay, cool. Okay, all
But the
right.
thing of it is that it goes back to what I said, is that people come with preconceived ideals and they feel like it's not black enough, if you will. You know,
Okay.
it's got a black name. And I tell everybody the only reason why it's called black is because I'm a black guy who's hosting the club.
So
That's
wait a
a,
minute, you're saying that people, like Black people, don't feel like it's black enough, or
exactly. Yes.
really?
Yes.
Okay. I
Because,
didn't. We haven't even talked about that. We never talked about that before.
well, because you know, most of the speakers that I've had, and I told
Uh,
everybody when I started the club, I know more white folks than I know black folks in this industry. You know
mhm.
what I'm saying? So that was one of the biggest problems because I
Okay.
had a lot of white speakers come, and these speakers are not being, they're not charging me. They're coming for free. I done had Bruce Norris. I just had Jay Massey, you know what I'm saying, which is a black guy. You
Okay.
know, follow him on YouTube's and I'm not YouTube's, but Facebook. Jay Massey, J, and then Massey, or Cash Flow Diaries. You know,
Okay.
um, um,
And you
but
were saying you've had Andy, you've had Bruce
I've,
Norris,
I
which
had
was
Bruce
big.
Norris, I've had Andy, I've had Stephen and Todd, I had Robert Fragoso. Who else have I had?
Jeremy, you had Jeremy.
Jeremy Jane. Well, he's Asian, so you know
Right.
he's a minority. You know, um, Jeff Pierce. You know, he's white. So and then Henny. You know, he's German. You know,
Okay.
so yeah, it's been a lot of more whites than blacks, but this year it changed a little bit. You know, I had Avery, which was supposed to speak. He's black, and
hmm
then I got Sonny. He was supposed to speak in March, but the
We had COVID show up.
right. So he's
Right.
speaking in September, and I would love for everybody to come and hear this brother. I wish we would be live.
Okay.
I wish
Now,
the
what is it about Sunny that you would like everybody to participate in that meeting for?
well because Sonny has a very unique story. Sonny did go to prison for whatever he did, you know, and instead of the Nation of Islam finding him or he finding the Nation of Islam, he went into this entrepreneur program that they had in prison, and he did a lot of reading, self-help books, taught himself how to do real estate to where he was able to do his first real estate deal while he was in prison. But the real key is that while he was in prison, he was able to convince his family members and friends to help him bring that to fruition. That's the key
hmm
because Everybody should be successful because they have family members and friends that are even thinking about or on the verge of selling their property. That's just the bottom line. Or they might know of some people that's thinking about or on the verge of selling their property. So you should have a lot of deals based on family members and friends. But they know you and they gonna say, where are you gonna get the money from? How do you know this is gonna really work? Who's gonna pay you? Who's gonna how much am I gonna get? Who's gonna pay for my gas and all this other stuff? You know what I'm saying? Instead of supporting you and helping you bring it to fruition, they ask you all these different questions, which have you to start second guessing. Well, how's this really going to happen to where you don't do it at all? You know what I'm saying? Or you don't trust nobody and you try to do it and you got all these trial and errors. And that's the one thing I want people to get, but I want them to feel the energy live because it's way much better when you're live versus being on the internet because you can touch and feel. On the internet, all you looking is a screen, you turn your screen off, you get up and walk away and still be half listening, you know what I'm saying, versus being there in person. So, but that's the unique story that I want everybody to listen to because this brother changed his life. He went to jail for whatever he went to jail for, but he walked out a different man. You know, and a lot of brothers don't do that. They turn around and go back in the system because the system is designed for you to come back,
Right.
back, and come back, and come back. So that's one thing I wanted everybody to commend this brother on because that's hard. That's real hard to not get caught up in the system like that.
It is, and it is something to be commended, because like you said, not to get too political or anything like that, but it's no secret, especially for most black folks, that the way that the system works is designed to make us a target. Young black males are viewed as quite often as a threat, and therefore they get the majority of focus from the police. And because they get so much focus from police, and because politicians have a need to basically, when they want to get elected, they rely on middle class votes, and middle class people want to feel safe, so they want to see that there's a lot of arrests that are going on of these people that they fear, right?
Amen.
And therefore, brothers who are just out, hey, look, you could be on the straight and narrow, and just like any kid, you can get caught up in something with your friends, and unfortunately sometimes you get caught up in something that may have consequences that may serve a purpose that's greater than your life is in your future is being viewed. And so therefore, and not to make light of anybody's crimes, but let's face it, there are some crimes that are real crimes and some crimes that are not crimes at all. And I think we know what those crimes are. And so but this isn't that show. You know what I'm saying? This is a show about real estate, money, and success. But because we deal with, talking about specifically, we're talking to minorities specifically, and single parents, we do have to address the problems that are particular to certain people in the American public that are not so problematic for others. And that's just the way it is in America. Now, we don't believe in victimization because I read a quote one time. I can't tell you where it's from, but I read the quote: "There are no rich victims." So quit believing that you're a victim. Don't believe that you're a victim. Don't believe that you a slave in any kind of way, because basically when Columbus showed up, you were already here. God's honest truth, right? You
Amen.
were already here when Columbus showed up, and it's in the most popular, biggest lie told in the world is that you came from somewhere else. So going back to the point of what I'm making is that um, you can believe a lot of things that are being told to you as a minority, but the only thing that you need to believe is in yourself and your ability to come up in America just like anybody else can, because that's what this country was essentially at its core, was made for anybody to come up. And so having said that, um, Thomas, it's really important that I got you on the show because I wanted you, because you're an inspiration to a lot of our people. You run the club very successfully, no matter what's going on in your life. And I know you personally, and I know that you've had a lot of challenges in your life during the time that you've been running the club. And it did, and nothing ever stopped when COVID came around. And so,
Because I don't
and
believe it.
so,
We can talk about that another day.
right. But the only thing that did stop was the fact that Sonny unfortunately wasn't able to be at the meeting in person that month. But like you said, you're gonna have him rescheduled for September. Maybe we'll be at the Mission Inn. Maybe we'll still be on Zoom. That remains to be seen. But the most important thing is that Tom, lost my train of thought. Sonny got caught up in the system, like many of us brothers do,
Right.
because we know how the system is made again, and therefore it's very easy for a person to get caught up in the system and to stay in that revolving door that it's designed to be. And it's also very easy for a person to get caught up in the system and allow the system to defeat them and overcome your self-esteem. And that is a very bad thing to allow the system to do to you. Because again, this is about mindset. This is not about going out there and searching for properties and making a $10,000 come up on a wholesale. It's about mindset. And that's what
Exactly.
Thomas is talking about. And so Thomas, when you set out to do the club, like how did that all come about? Like what inspired you to do the club? And I'm sure you didn't have any idea what you was getting into, because
Hell
it's
no.
like, why? He's like, hey, is there anybody out there who wants all of their time taken away from looking for deals, and who also wants to have money come out of their pocket every month so that other people can eat? Anyone? Thomas, yeah, you.
Well, here's
I'm
the
like,
thing.
it's like that life cereal commercial. Thomas will eat it. He'll eat anything, right?
Here's the thing. Stephen McKee and Todd Bear came to me and said, "Hey, we want to start this club."
What
Well,
made them? Why did they come to you about that idea? What made them
you
think of
know
it in the
what? To
first
be
place?
honest with you, I have no earthly idea.
Uh-huh.
Don't know. All I can say, they guess they believe in me, but they said they wanted to start this club for minorities, and they felt uncomfortable because they was two white guys with flip shorts and t-shirt, and
Why? Okay,
believe.
why would two white guys care about starting a club for minorities? Could you please explain that?
Well,
Because
because
I ain't never met. you know,
if you
I'm
don't
from
know,
Tucson, dog. Ain't no white guys out there starting clubs for minorities.
well, for folks that don't know, Stephen McKee is a rebel.
Okay.
I call him a black man in a white person's body.
Uh-huh. He
'Cause you know
he
how
was,
he
he was born with the wrong suit on, huh?
exactly. So he just got tired of seeing white folks come up and be guest speakers and talk about all the success they done had and the failures they had in real estate. So he wanted some minorities to come up. And I had just started the game, you know, and so, I was been well connected because when I first met them, they didn't know me. And because I was on workers' comp, I would come up to the office every day. And I just bugged the hell out of him. I told him, I said, "You're going to remember this face, you know." And that's when he proceeded to start giving me a lot of stuff because he thought I was full of crap. And after a while, he realized that I was sincere. So that's how come they took me up under their wing and they started buying stuff for me. And they still have. So before I can say anything, they said, "Thomas, we want you to run it." And before I could say anything, what came out of my mouth was, "Sure, why not?" Didn't have no idea what the hell I was getting involved in. So I didn't have any money. So they ended up paying for my first meeting. They told me, don't get discouraged, because they had, when they started, they only had four paying folks, four people that paid and whatnot. And they was going to pay for my meeting for the first 6 months. And then after that, my first meeting, I had 33 people come. They was like, damn, we get it. Because Steve told me, he said that when I hear you talk to white people, you sound like you don't know what the hell you talking about. But when I see you talk to black people, I get it. He says, I understand it's the culture, it's the language and whatnot. So that's how all that got that it came out. So he said, I guess the black people do want this. I guess the minorities do want this. So that's what happened. So the club will be around for 2 years in October. And the club's been growing ever since to where I'm almost at 1,800 members. You know what I'm saying? So even if I wanted to get off and quit, club's gonna run itself.
There's no quitting now, huh?
No quitting now. You know, so
Yeah.
it became a household name automatically. You know, so um, I've had a lot of people that influenced me to speak, to talk about how they got in real estate, the adventures they had in real estate, you know, some of the trials and tribs that they had to go through. So that way we can understand and not go through the same exact thing. So that's what I tend to bring at the table every day is that. Now, I don't look at it as hard. It's fun to me. I get a kick out of it now. Every month I enjoy seeing the people that come and speaking it to them and meeting them and things like that, because I just like we're doing real estate now. It's not a job to me. It's fun. And the fact is, I could be anywhere in the world and still be able to do real estate. As long as I got an internet service, because I have a system in place, I could be anywhere in the world and still do what I need to do and be successful at it. You know, and since we on Zoom, you know, right now, I could be anywhere in the world and be able to remotely still be on Zoom. You know, that's the beauty about what's going on in the world. This has become the new norm, you know, as far as what the world is dealing with. This is an apocalypse. So this is what we have to accept. But I enjoy it. And I see people coming to the meetings every day, see people registering every day. You know, it makes me feel like, you know, I'm doing my job, you know, because I asked myself when this first started, who would want to come and listen to me? Who would want to come and see me? Who am I? And
Right.
apparently I am an important person in this industry. I'm well known in this industry, you know, and it's because of who I'm connected to. And the people that I'm connected to, knowing that they're not going to be connected to junk. So therefore, I got to be A-OK, you know.
Now, let's talk about that for a second, because I think that's another thing that, um, for me personally, when I was, when I was back in, working class guy, I had my job and all that stuff. And like I said, I would go to those networking events because I was, a hustler trying to find my come up on the side. And, and I never really understood, especially in that capacity, like what the importance was for networking. And people would tell me all the time, if you want to get rich, it's all about your network. It's about your network. And for the longest time, I just couldn't see it, because it was like every time I go out to network, it's like just another entrepreneur, just like myself, wanting me to buy their product or their service. And so I didn't get what's important about the network until I ended up going to Atlanta, because Andy said, "Hey, I want to take a bunch of people to Atlanta and have what do you call it, a mastermind group." Because there was a seminar in Atlanta, and I went down there. It was about trust, right? And I remember when I first started, and you were talking to me about trust, and I had no idea what you were talking about. Didn't have a clue. Didn't even know that was part of real estate, and I didn't even want to talk about trust. I was like, man, let's just get to the wholesale, okay? So we go down to Atlanta, and then I see Mick. I sit down next to Mick, and then Mick introduces me to the one person that I knew that I needed to meet when I went to Atlanta, which was Peter Fortunato. Personal introduction. You just said people know you in Southern California. There's a lot of clubs in Southern California. There's a lot of big players at those clubs in Southern California. You, my friend, can pretty much talk to any one of them, but not only can you talk to any one of them like I can, like anybody can walking in the room, When you walk into the room, the reaction is, Thomas, Thomas, what's going on, Thomas? Everywhere I go with you, everywhere I go with you. Now, please explain why that happens. Why is it important to have the right network, the right group of friends, the right people that are around you all the time to encourage you? You the one told me that. Keep going to the clubs because that's your support group. Why? Why is that important, Thomas?
Because, like I said before, there's no T in team. There's no I in team, I should say, and you can't do this by yourself. I don't care how educated you are, how skilled you are. You're going to need a support group, and that's what the importance of the founder, the movie The Founder, because that's what made him become a guy, the franchise of McDonald's, because somebody taught him something that he didn't know. He just said, instead of worry about the building, buy the land. And that's the same thing with having that support group, because there's going to be other ways to structure things versus the way you thinking about doing it. You know what I'm saying? You might have one particular idea, but then somebody else can come through the back door and say, you know what? Here's a better way of thinking about it, or here's a better way of doing it, which is much easier than the way you're doing it, and it would take less time. So that's the importance of having that kind of network, because somebody done it before you, and it probably took them a while to get to where they are, or somebody came to them and said, hey, there's another way. So what you're doing is you're giving back to what was given unto you. You know what I'm saying? The Bible says you can draw men unto your bosom. Bottom line of it is that that's what networking is about, is that you got this fraternity, this frat, whatever you want to call it, support system, networking system, whatever. The fact is that you have somebody that you can rely on, that if you have any issues, that you can go to that person and they can help you solve it. You know what I'm saying? So where you can come out on top. Not that they're going to take it away from you, not that they want to be a part of it, get some kind of proceeds. No, it's that they want to see you become successful at what it is that you said you want to do.
So basically, you have a network of what sounds to me like you have a network of essentially real estate millionaires that you can call at any point in time during the day, and whatever it is that you're dealing with, whether it's real estate or if it's something personal, you can get any one of these people on the phone. They'll talk to you, listen to you, give you advice. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Exactly.
And how important is that to you?
Very important, because coming from where I came from, the hood, and the one-sided education that I've learned in my life, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know anything. I knew some of it, but I didn't know how to go by to accomplish it, because my biggest thing was fear. Not fear that I could do it, fear that I had all these other issues like the reading and the child support and coming from the hood and didn't have a lot of money and all this other stuff, like we all do.
Hmm. And so basically you came to the table with all those issues like a lot of us come to the table with. Some, some maybe a little bit worse, some maybe not so bad. But basically you came to the table just like any other human being did, and you found success. You found comfort. You found that there was a group of people there that were ready to wrap their arms around you.
Exactly. And the biggest part is my success, no one else's but mine.
Right, right. And somebody might say, well, yeah, but you had them to help you. They wouldn't do that for me. Why would they do that for me? They did it for you. You must be special. I couldn't get that.
Then,
What do you say to somebody who's got that kind of attitude about it?
well, they got the wrong attitude. And that's the whole thing with the preconceived, because actually we all special, and No one's no special than the other person, but you got to believe in yourself. That's how Bill Gates was able to get people to come work for him for free. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So if you don't believe in yourself and believe in your product, you know, then how do you expect somebody to believe in you? How do you expect somebody to do for you? You know, no one's not going to do anything if you're not going to show that you're worthy of doing it. And how you do that, you got to believe in yourself. You're going to make mistakes, and mistakes are not what people think they are. Mistakes are the golden ticket. You know what I'm saying? There's really no such word as mistakes. There's no such thing as mistakes. You know, it's a learning curve, you know, because you got to get yourself. That's what the mistake is, getting out the way. Stop trying to do it yourself. Stop trying to be all. Stop trying to be God, if you will. God lives through you and he's in you, but you're not him. He's going to make your name great, but you cannot be him. You cannot reinvent the wheel, but you can enhance it with his help. So if you stop trying to do everything and making your name great instead of letting him make your name great, then yeah, you'll be all right.
So, I was always taught since the time I was a little kid, don't do this, don't do that, make sure that your homework is done correctly so you get good grades. Make sure that your grades come in and they look good so that you can go to a good college. And so everything had to be mistake free. Um, why are mistakes a good thing for an entrepreneur?
Because you understand, it goes back to, like I said, getting yourself out the way. Because there's no one's making that decision but you. I mean, if you think about it this, why do different people tell you the same thing all the time? Because apparently they can see it. We wear our heart on our sleeves. You know, so if they can see the bus is about to hit you, but you can't see the bus because you're too distracted, then the bus is going to hit you. You see what I'm saying? Just like, for instance, I was just involved in a motor vehicle accident. I was a pedestrian 2 weeks before my birthday back in March. Well, it was kind of drizzly and the sun came out. I had a hoodie on because I didn't want to get hit. I mean, because I didn't want to get wet. But I had so much stuff in my head, I was very distracted. So the car hit me on my left side. I went up in the air and fell on my right side, you know, and everybody was shocked because the next day I got up and I came into the office instead of sitting back relaxing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was hurt, bumps and bruises. I mean, they did EKG, MRI, and a CAT scan. Everything came back negative, you know, but I have a goal that I'm reaching, and I ain't got time to be sitting up, laying up, trying to relax. I can do that in between, you know. So therefore, this is what needed to be done. I have to put aside myself and do what I need to do because of the position that I was in. I was living in a motel at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I needed to get out of there. You know, I had a voucher. The voucher ran out, and then I had to pay. You know, and I had money set aside so I can get a place, but I had to get up out of there, so I had to do what I had to do. Eventually, I got out, you know, but the fact of the matter is, I had to do what it took for me to get out. So I put myself aside, and I continue on what I needed to do, and it came to fruition. So that's the biggest thing you got to understand is that you have to have a support system. We are here for each other. When God created us, he created us for that, to help each other. He didn't create just you. He didn't create just Adam and that was it. He created a gang of us. And we all here to help each other out, not to hurt each other, not to kill each other, but to help each other out in spite of our shortcomings.
That's right. Now, Thomas, before we wrap it up, I do want to. I would be completely out of line if I didn't mention the fact that last summer you recommended a video for me to watch, and this was a Netflix video called The Black Godfather.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Now,
sir.
now, a few minutes ago, we were just talking about the fact that You can walk into any real estate meeting in Southern California. And for those of you who think that I'm lying, I am not lying about this. This is the God's honest truth. Thomas can go to any meeting in Southern California, and the host of that meeting will know him, recognize him, give him a big hug. If it's a woman, they'll give him a big kiss. And sometimes man, they give him a big kiss and he'll take it too. No, I'm just kidding. But my point is that people love this dude. And because of that, um, anytime that I know that there is a phone number in my phone that I don't have, I know that I have my very own personal real estate directory, and it's called www.thomaschappell.com, right? Like Bill Cook said, talk to the damn neighbors.com, right? So, Thomas, every time I need somebody's phone number, I know that I can call you up and be like, hey, Thomas, can you give me such and such's number? Thomas, you've given me phone numbers of people. We'll be in the middle of a conversation, and I'm just telling you something I'm working on. I might not even be working on the damn thing. I could just be thinking about it and just share the thought with you, and that'll turn into, oh, well, you need to call so and so. As a matter of fact, you because they do such and such and such and such, and while you talking, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I need to talk to that person right away or anything like that. And then before I know it, it's like, boop, oh, it's right there on my phone. Okay, I guess I gotta call them now. So, so Thomas, the Black Godfather, you sent me the video. I didn't know who the Black Godfather was. As it turns out, the Black Godfather is a gentleman by the name of what's his name?
Clarence Avant.
Clarence Avant. That's right, Clarence Avant. And I told you that a few months ago, I actually was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw that my cousin had taken a picture with him. My cousin's in the entertainment business. I had no idea she knew this dude, right? And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm just like, I'm 1 degree of separation from this cat on this end. And on this end, heck, I'm 0 degrees of separation from the real estate Black Godfather. So I want this to be the official declaration of your new name on this podcast. That your name is now going to be Thomas Chappell, the Black Godfather of real estate in Southern Cal. So take it away, Black Godfather. Please explain how you've acquired that name.
Well, Clarence Avant is a guy that you want to get to understand. The story is that he probably would have never became the man he became if he had not tried to poison his stepdad. Now, when I'm saying that, it might sound bad. It was bad, but the point is to understand. You know, the guy grew up in segregation and all these other different things, to where he ended up leaving home and moving with his aunt in New York. And he met this white Jew guy, you know, took the man up under his wing and taught him everything he needed to know about, you know, the entertainment industry. And he never wanted to become a manager, producer, or anything like that. His favorite 2 words, one is, if the money ain't right, I'm not in it, and motherfucker, you know. But
And the Jewish guy that we're talking about, this is Lou Wasserman, right?
right.
Okay. And for those of you that don't know who Lou Wasserman is, uh, he used to run MCA, which is also Universal. He was like one of the biggest people in Hollywood at one point, and there was always some things that was being said about him in the background. We won't get into that. But what I do know is that Lou Wasserman is known as the person who made Ronald Reagan. So please continue. So you're saying Clarence Avant was a protege of Lou Wasserman.
So he ended up hooking him up. And at the time, he told Clarence, he says, I want you to go to LA. He said, okay. And he said, I want you to go buy a house. So Clarence got married, took his wife, and they moved to LA. And he called him up and asked him, did you find a house yet? He said, yeah, I found one in Baldwin Hills. He's like, where the hell is Baldwin Hills at? He said, this is where all the black millionaires are. He said, no, go to goddamn Beverly Hills. So he went to Beverly Hills and bought him a house. But what's interesting about this guy, and for those who don't know, Bill Withers was his first artist, you know. But what was interesting about this guy, he can walk into an all-white executive office right now today, stop whatever proceedings they had, demand what he want, and walk out with it, you know. And I kind of, you know, emulated myself after that because I want everybody to become successful. I tried to as give out much information as I possibly can, you know, to help somebody get to where they are, you know, and Alvin will attest to it. I stayed on Alvin. I stayed on because Alvin was at a point that he wanted to give up. And I was like, man, you don't need to give up. You know what I'm saying? You need to leave a legacy for your lineages, not when you pass, but before you pass and whatnot. So that's what I try to do, is give out much information. A lot of people call and ask me for information, like numbers to other people. And I have it, I give it to them. You know, I'm not afraid of anything because the fact is because nobody can hurt me but myself. You know what I'm saying? No one can hurt me but myself by, you know, putting myself in bad situations or put myself in good situations, you know, and that's all I want to do is put people in good situations. So, you know, I'm proud of Alvin, you know, for finally stepping into his role, you know, but the most thing is that, you know, in a situation where he was married and his wife left him with the boys, you know, that's something hard to come by because society always says, oh, he give up and, you know, give his boys up to somebody else or, you know, this, that, and the other. But no, man stood in the trenches and took on that responsibility, you know, just like with my son. You know, his mother, she wasn't a bad woman. You know, I have nothing against her. You know, she just felt that my son would be better off raised with me, you know. And that's just how that happened. I didn't take her from her and say she was a bad mother. No, you know, but it's just the fact is that I didn't have a support system, you know. So since I didn't have one and I found out about Alvin's story, I wanted to be his support system because it was more or less for me and not for him, because that's what I needed. And so by me talking to him, and he don't know that, I'm just telling him this now, by me talking to him, I was talking to myself as well, because I didn't have that and I gave up. You know, because society don't look at it like that. Yeah, my girlfriend was telling me, oh, no, you're a good dad. And I'm like, hell no, I ain't no good dad. You know, because society hadn't told me yet. I don't give a damn what society think anymore. You know, because I look at what my son is and where he's at, things that he's already accomplished, you know, because of the connections that I have. And that's what's important. You know, he just did a live concert recording with well-renowned gospel singer Brent Jones. You know, a kid that was on a live recording. He's been in the studio cutting tracks with Brent Jones's group called The Fire, which is ranged of elementary, junior high, and high school kids. You know what I'm saying? So because I knew somebody that knew him, that's how my son got connected. You know, my girlfriend, I've been going to the thing in Vegas. She met a woman, white woman, is rich, wants to pour into her and help her create her business. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the important thing is the connections, because you never know who you're going to run into that's going to be willing to help you out. We heard that some people walk up on people and just give them money for no reason. It's because God led them to. And you just don't know who you're going to run into. Same thing with Clarence Avant. He didn't know he was going to run into this guy this day. He didn't know that he was going to be the biggest thing in Hollywood. And the funny part about it is, people say, if you look at the documentary, if you don't know Clarence Avant, then you don't know nothing. Because that man will structure your deals to help you get all the money you need. And he told one story about Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They met him and they sat down and talked to him. And he said, get rid of your agent. And he talked to them personally. They said, "What's wrong, Mr. Devon? We'll take less money." He said, "The problem is you didn't ask for enough money. Don't go in anything asking for little. You know you're gonna borrow money. Ask for the most. That ask for what you need instead of asking, well, I need to get $5 when you need 10. Because that means that you need to go ask somebody else for the other five. Why not ask for the whole $10? If they have it, they'll give it to you. If they don't, you get it from somewhere else. But don't ask for half of it. Ask for all of it. Don't be afraid to ask for all of it. And that's the one thing I got out of it. Don't be afraid.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm glad you told that story, because that's the one thing that I want people to understand, is that there is, there's so much inspiration out there for us. And when you told me about Clarence Avant, and said, go to Netflix, watch this, The Black Godfather, and I'd encourage everybody that's watching this to immediately go to Netflix and watch The Black Godfather. And that man is Thomas Chappell to a T. And that's what, that's basically, that's what I see in you. Because you know how it is, everybody sees something in people, and in you I see that person, the guy that wants to just make sure that everybody is connected to the right person to make sure that business happens. And Clarence Avant was one of those people. They never talked about, um, the documentary was nothing about how much money he made in his lifetime or how rich he is now or anything like that. That's not the point, and that's never the point. And that's the thing that people have to understand when they get involved in this, because everybody comes into this thinking that it's about the money, and it's not about the money, it's about the relationships. It's
Exactly.
strictly about the relationships. And even getting out there in the streets and making a deal happen, who's going to sell something to somebody they don't like?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You just go into people's houses trying to buy it, and you pissing them off. You ain't gonna get no deals. You got to form a relationship with these people, and that's what you do all the time, Thomas. When people walk into the club, you you start a relationship with every single person that walks into the club. It ain't just no, hi, my name is Thomas. You are what you got? Oh, you ain't got shit from me. Okay, fuck you. I'm out. Don't nobody get that vibe from you. I sure as hell hope they don't get it from me. But there are people who give off that vibe in our club. We're not gonna lie. There is that element, but that's not a lot of people, is it? I mean, it's not overwhelming or anything like that, in my opinion, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, you'll find that there's more people that's more open to help you bring whatever you want to fruition than you would imagine. And the ideal that white folks only the ones that you know can do this, you'll be more amazed. You really would. The only problem is that there are black folks that are doing it, but they're not teaching it you know, and that's what you don't have, and that's why it's hard to believe because you don't have white black folks teaching it. Where you have everybody else teaching it, but then you have those who's charging, and you like, oh, I ain't got time to pay that kind of money. I got bills to pay, or I don't have that kind of money. Well, there's people out there that's willing to give it to you for free. Now people say for free, then that means it's not wealth, it's not worthy, it's not wealth, it's not received because it says free. But you'll be amazed that the stuff that you get for free is more valuable than the stuff you pay for.
Well, you know what? Now that you said that, I hope everybody will appreciate what I'm trying to do with this YouTube channel, which is bring them, bring them all that information for free right here. Because, and I know you feel the same way that I do when I say this, that it's um, it's a blessing to be around people who all they care about is seeing you come up. It's a blessing to be around people that only care about seeing you come up and ain't expecting nothing,
Exactly.
because they already know that. See, people in the middle class, and tell me if I'm wrong, Thomas, people in the middle class, they think that, wealthy people steal all the money, that they got all the money from lying, cheating, and stealing. And until you actually meet a wealthy person and see that most of these wealthy people that me and Thomas know, and we're talking about wealthy white men, old wealthy white men that do nothing but take the time to educate minorities on how to invest, as many minorities as they can get their hands on, because they already know that there's enough of them doing it, right?
Correct.
So every time I'm around them, they trying to gang me up on something, whether it's Andy, Peter, Coach, Mick, whoever it is. And that's the benefit of being in the club. You told me that. It's having that network of people to always be surrounded by the conversation, to always be engaged in the conversation of money and real estate. And then there you, before you know it, you're speaking the language. Is there anything you wanna add to that before we take off? Because I know we said we was gonna wrap up like a half an hour ago, and because you like talking just as much as me, we got another 45 minutes to go, right?
No, I mean everything has been said in a nutshell. I mean, the one thing I do hope that in spite of the length of this video, is that you get what God has want you to get out of it. You're not looking at it just because you know you heard about it, or I'm sexy as hell. But the point is,
Hey, I hope that's the reason why they watch.
but the point is that seriously is that there's something for you, and you got to understand. I don't care if it's white, black, or whatever. We need to stop using this race as an excuse. You know what I'm saying? We need to stop using certain words as an excuse. It's okay for blacks to call each other niggas, but if a white person using that, we want to kick their behind. We need to get out of all that crap. The bottom line of it is that no matter what skin you're wearing, we all here for each other. We all bleed red. You know what I'm saying? There's no difference in that. So the bottom line of it is that there's good people and there's bad people. Alvin had mentioned Andy's name several times. Well, Andy's the kind of guy, he gonna talk to you no matter what. He's an older white guy. He's had several different businesses. He don't see black or white. He just see human beings. You know what I'm saying? So that's the one thing I hope everybody would get out of this, is that, there's something that God has for you to get out, and now you get the information and you hook up with people that's going to help you get where you come, and then you turn around and do the same thing to somebody else. You give back what was given unto you. You know what I'm saying? And this is not quoting no scriptures and, all this talking about passing the collection plate, none of that mess. Because like Steve Harvey said, you know what? You have not because you ask not. He only has three favorite scriptures. And this man's talking all over the world. And he talks about his vision board, you know what I'm saying? And how he was able to obtain a lot of things off his vision board, and he came from nothing, just like we all have. So the one thing is that no matter what, we are all successful. It's just how we become successful determines that.
That's a good way to end it, man. I do want to tell you that just to support what you just said, that I just recently looked at some old notes that I took in an old phone of mine, that stuff that I wrote down to encourage myself when I was going through a tough time. And I realized that a lot of the stuff that I wrote down back then, I'm talking like 3-4 years ago, a lot of those things are actually coming to fruition now. And and it was just the kind of the thought process that I had back then was, a lot of people will watch that video. What's the one real popular, the one about the law of attraction?
Right. That's it.
Yeah. So I think the biggest misconception about the law of attraction is that all you have to do is just sit in a quiet room, close your eyes, and say chance. And and that's part of it. You know what I'm saying? That's just one small part of it. Writing down your goals is very important. Being very specific with your goals, like Thomas said, is very important. But what's more important is what I hope you guys got out of this video, which Thomas kept reiterating through the entire conversation. Because every time I asked him about people coming to a meeting or about real estate, he brought it back to the main point, which is believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you can get anything done. Remember, there is nobody stopping you from doing whatever the hell you want. There is literally nobody stopping you. If you're a full grown adult, you pay your own bills, who in the hell can tell you what not to do? And what does it matter if somebody thinks that you're doing something stupid or something outrageous or something that people don't do that? The reason why me and Thomas do that is because we're around people who do that. And that's what they mean by change your friends. Look at who your friends are, your five biggest influences around you. Well, I could tell you, this is one of my friends. This is one of my friends right here. This is a person that I talk to on a regular basis, and we have regular conversations about real estate, about life, about success, about personal issues going on, because we keep each other encouraged. As single Black fathers, we have to look out for each other. As human beings, we have to look out for each other. And that's why I wanted to do the YouTube channel. That's why I wanted you to come on here, Thomas, because I appreciate the way that you go about encouraging people. I hope this is not the last time that you're going to be on my YouTube channel, man, or on anything that I end up doing. But I really want to thank you for coming on and doing the interview and saying what you got to say. Just the last thing that I do want to make sure that we get down, Thomas, because it's very important to the people that are watching this video, is that Thomas, again, is a hard money lender. And when you need money to do a deal or you want to make an offer on a property, Thomas is the person that you're going to call to get that money. Now, Thomas, I have to ask you before we wrap up. Now, what is required of a person to get money from you? I mean, do they have to have good credit? Do they have to have experience of doing, like, 5 flips, 10 flips, any type of real estate experience at all? I mean, how does a person get money from you? And how does a person make an offer on a property without money?
Well, the thing of it is how hard money works is it's not traditional where you go to the bank and you sign your name in blood and all this before they approve a deal. We have to put money on the streets. So basically, we got 4 different categories. For a seasonal investor, you have to have at least 3 deals up under your belt. Basically what the 3 deals give you is a down payment coming in at 10%. Sometimes the rehab cost is totally free. I mean, not totally free, but they don't charge you for the rehab. So sometimes it's 10% down on the purchase price and 100% on the rehab cost, or it could be 10% down on the purchase price and 10% down on the rehab cost. Okay. Credit is not a factor, but it does help. Anything 640 and above is okay, but it's really not a factor because you still have to come with the money down regardless. For a non-seasoned investor, if you've never done any deals, then you're looking at coming in between 25 and 35% down of the actual purchase price. And sometimes, like I said, the rehab cost could be 100% or 10% of that. Okay. The other breakdown is that you can get you a JV partner, which is a joint venture partner, and use their experience to still be your deal, but you'll use their experience. And now you're coming in between 15% down and 20% down, And the last thing, if you had done a deal 2 years, so has it been 2 years since the last time you've done your deal? We can take that deal and have you come in at 20% down. That's pretty much it, So the best way to get in contact with me is that you can call me or email me. My phone number is area code 404-844-1828. Once again, that's area code 404-844-1828. Or my email address is Thomas Chappell 33 at yahoo.com. Once again, that's THOMAS, C like Charles, H like Harry, A like Apple, P like Paul, P like Paul, E like Edward, L like Larry, 33 at yahoo.com.
Okay, then Thomas, are you able to loan money in other states besides California?
Oh, yes, of course. No
What
problem. Um,
what
hard
state?
money,
Any
all
limitations?
over. All over. It doesn't matter. All over. Hard money's all over. Um, in that aspect, yeah, we can loan hard all over.
Okay, because I knew, I mean, in our club we got members down in Florida, St. Louis. We have members up in Nevada, Arizona. I got family in Arizona. Heck, I'm going to Detroit in a couple of weeks. You telling me you can give me money in all these places?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I knew I liked you for some reason. I knew I did. That's why I'm gonna call you Santa Claus, not the black Santa Claus Godfather. So okay, cool. So if anybody out there needs hard money, a hard money loan to buy an investment property, and these are usually properties that need some damage, that have damaged or distressed in some sort of a way, a distressed situation. If you don't know what a distressed situation is, we're going to do some videos to cover that. But basically, excuse me, basically pizza last night, Thomas. But basically, the distress situations that we're talking about are the reasons why these hard money loans are available, and they're available for a variety of different reasons. Don't think it's just only available just so you can do a flip project, because he can do hard money loans for all sorts of different real estate investment projects. You just need to call him and ask. And the other part of that is that you guys also provide a proof of funds letter. So can you explain the importance of a proof of funds letter?
Well, it's really it's a letter to state that you have capital to be able to purchase the property. So, in other words, when you go out to purchase a property, some some agents or some agents require that you have a proof of funds letter or a bank statement to prove that you have that capital to purchase a property. Now, the proof of funds letter is something that's temporary, because once it gets in escrow, then you will provide bank statements to prove that you have the capital to buy the property. But otherwise, it's just something temporary just to get your foot in the door. So we do for new development, new construction, apartment complexes, long and short-term rentals, as well as fix and flips. We provide that for you. It's just a generic letter that Rehab Loan Group stationary will say that, okay, we are providing you this letter stating that you are applying for a hard money loan to purchase this property, whether it's rental, commercial, or new development.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, all right. So yeah, that'll pretty much do it. I'm glad we got that in there, because I was like I said, I was about to forget it. I said we was gonna leave about 30 minutes ago. I figured we was gonna go for another 45, but thanks for being brief and summarizing that, brother. So, Thomas Chappell, again, thank you very much for being on the show. And we're definitely going to have you come back at another time after you get some of these deals knocked down you're talking about. It'll be nice to have you come back and go over the details of some of those deals so that people can understand how the numbers kind of break down. Is that something you can do?
Oh, definitely, definitely, no problem.
Okay, cool. All right, I appreciate it. Okay, Thomas Chappell, ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for the next interview, whenever that is. But we're going to have I don't know who we gonna have on next. It's gonna be somebody, but I hope it's as good as this interview was. All
All right.
right.
Well,
Thank you, Thomas.
thank you.
All right.